All right, we're live with Luciano Martinez. Coach, what's going on, Coach? Thanks for the phone
What's,
call, man.
what's going on, Rudy? Aquí andamos, aquí andamos.
Hey, Coach, I called
Mándame.
you just, hey, straight up. We're going into it. Vámonos. This is a show. Main thing was we had the main reason you're on the show today is we had an M service today, P coaches. Great
Chinga.
conversations with some lot of good minds, athletic development. We had lunch afterwards, talked a little bit more about it. I said, you know what? I know who can speak a little bit more freely
Ah,
because
chinga.
they won't fire him,
Cause it
and he
what?
can help, and he can help the community and with his own opinions and share more freely. But the one question that everybody told me to ask you
Ah, chinga. Go for it. Let me ver.
was, why did you leave? First of all, you left, but I don't know how you left. You left coaching first, and you were still a teacher, and then you left completely. ¿O cómo pasó ahí?
Yeah, so pues nos pegó el año del COVID, lo que era, ¿verdad? So when COVID hit us, we were going into spring break, and what was happening, everybody got cabin fever. There was a lot of people with a lot of cabin fever. Y eso que pasó, and there was a lot of internal turmoil for me inside. I mean, you talk about speaking freely, but I had some reservations about speaking freely, you know.
Right.
But the bottom line, man, I was growing a resentment towards the mindset of the student athlete.
Mm,
The student athlete.
right,
For
right.
me, a mí siempre fue, hey, student first, athlete second. And so that
Student first,
mindset,
athlete second.
sí, ese mindset, bro, ese mindset para mí fue el kicker. So I just kept mellowing that over and mellowing it over and mellowing it over when we got into COVID, and we didn't come back. Kept thinking about it. Hey, do I really want to put up with this shit? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I call Coach Farias. I go, hey, Coach, I don't want to coach anymore. He goes, what? Because he didn't want me to go, you know?
And you have a lot of passion. Everybody's been around you knows you love this stuff.
Yeah, no, I love coaching, man. I love and I miss coaching. I think you've seen me a couple of times here on the Facebook. Man, I miss coaching, but I have right now. I just have a growing, and it's not growing anymore. I hate to say growing, but I had at the time a growing resentment towards the mindset of the student athlete. That
Right.
whole I'm gonna start passing man 70-second play. That's the kicker. That
I
was
got you.
that was for me. That was the thing I didn't want to put up with no more. You know. So,
Right.
but it wasn't like it wasn't for. But that's not the only reason that I no longer coach. I
That
had
was a cherry on top. That was a
that
cherry.
was
That's what did it.
that was the trigger.
Right.
That was the
Right.
trigger. I had other little things that were kind of like growing inside of me, resentment wise. Little things that I would see in the hallways that I said, you know what, I don't know if I want to teach right now. I don't know if I want to teach anymore.
Mm.
The fact that teachers don't get paid as well. So for me, it was a little bit of the financial aspect of things. The environment. There's a lot of toxicity in teaching right now. To make your point, to make that point, my broker Jonathan Lilly at Remax Platinum, he goes, dude, I every month we have to go to these meetings at the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors, and every month more and more teachers are leaving the teaching industry.
Mm.
And that's just the truth, dude. That's just the truth, because there's a toxic element in classroom settings right now, or in education settings right now. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of teachers that are just leaving the education field, maybe not leaving entirely, but are joining other career, making career changes, because there's a toxic element right now in the classroom. And go ahead.
I don't know what it is, and I agree with you, but I'm gonna make a statement, and I think this is the way I encompass or the summary of it is, I personally don't think we're underpaid, considering all things considered. I think we're overworked. I think there's too much paperwork, documentation, and to me, we because of all that, we lose what teachers love to have a
Mhm.
good uh, experience with students and push them forward and for them to succeed. But because you're over here paper pushing, that we've lost. I think the teaching field has lost that over the course of the last 10 years, maybe. What do you think?
So repeat that. You say you feel overworked and not
I think
underpaid.
right. I would say we're not underpaid. I would say we're overworked. Now,
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not saying you have to agree with that.
it equals the same thing. It equals the same
Maybe,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
You're
Like I just said, that's just the way I see it. But I
yeah,
get it.
but there's
You
that
want to get
toxic.
paid more for what you do.
Yeah, but there's that toxic element that I'm talking about. Whether it's paper pushing, for you it might be the paper pushing, but for me, yeah, there was a lot of paper pushing, way too much paper pushing, right?
Right.
But for me, it was just okay. And maybe you have the right words, the right words to put it, because sometimes I struggle with putting things into words. I've always had
Mhm.
I'm a math teacher, dude. I'm not an English person,
Yeah,
right?
it's logic, straight up numbers,
Pero
facts.
pero that there's a toxic element in the education field right now, and I don't know if it is that overworked factor and not necessarily underpaid. I to me, if you want to manage that overworked factor, then
Mm,
pay teachers more. You know,
true. I
when
see
I
what you're
when I
saying.
was leaving teaching, I was thinking, I was pushing this whole idea on Facebook. The starting pay for teachers needs to right now be up to $75,000, and then adjust for experience. And that's just my take on it.
Right.
And I say this because now as a real estate agent, Mendez, check this out. The Luciano Martinez that bought my house in 2017, he has the same salary that he had when he left La Jolla, pretty much. The salary didn't change, right?
Okay.
Okay, you know what I mean? So my salary didn't change from 2017 to 2022, 23. It didn't change. That Luciano Martinez bought his house for an X amount of money.
Right.
That same Luciano Martinez today could not buy that same house today, because that house that he bought has more than doubled in price. But
Agreed.
where
The
was the
inflation.
right?
Right.
But where was the inflation in teaching salaries?
No,
There wasn't.
no.
So again, you might call it overworked. I might call it underpaid, but that's the point that I'm making. That
Yeah.
there was a toxic element in the educational field or educational industry, and it's not just in one district. I think it's in districts overall. Like I said, my broker, he goes to these meetings on a monthly basis, and he sees more and more teachers join or make these career changes monthly.
Which is a common thing that's going on because of the fact that we go back to the same thing. Or you know what? Oh man, Facebook Live, give me. Yo, no.
We're
Something's
taking a
going
short
on.
break.
Oh, something's going on. Sorry, it's my computer saying that I'm not connected. I haven't done the show in a while, so my kids move my computers around. And when I got back, I must have not connected something. But let me get. I might be able to get an assistant here in a bit, but we'll see what's going on. Este. So back to the point. We're overworked. You left it, but here now.
See, I
When we,
forgot
when we talk,
when we started this.
right. So you left the career, and during the conversations when people were saying, "Oh, Rudy's gonna have Luciano on there," they're like asking why he left, and I said, "Well, think about it. Does he make approximately the same amount or more without being overworked as now that he's a real estate agent? Are you
Yeah, but it's
making
not
more? Are you
just for the
making
pay.
less, or about the same? But without all that stress?
There's stresses to real estate too, dude. There's plenty of issues here and there. Um, so for me, like I said, I think it was a work toxic element. There's an element, but like, I don't think that's just to one school or one school district. I think it's across the board, because I talked to other real estate agents who also left that industry, and there's something going on. And man, I've had multiple conversations with multiple people, multiple coaches, um, multiple different people coming from different backgrounds in terms
Mhm.
of the education, and there's something going on in the student body. There's something going on in the student mindset, and maybe that's our fault as teachers, or maybe that's something that starts at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, give
I've
me a sec, Luciano. Give me. Hey, Facebook Live. Give me a sec. Hold on, babe. Hold on. I need to fix this because my computer's gonna run out of battery. My kid's using it, and I didn't know that they had run out of battery, and I don't know why this charger's not working. Give me about 30 seconds. Some technical
You
issues.
got it, brother.
All right, give me a sec. This is the correct charger, right? Yeah. It's plugged in. So that's in. Why does it say it's not charging? Right? It should be, right? How do we know if it's charging enough? Or do I have the wrong charger on there? Oh, I say this isn't my one? I have no idea.
It's that one.
That's the one, right? And why does it work? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All right, let me see my computer here with my charger. Oh, there it is. I got it. It's working. It's working. It was working, but I freaked out. Sorry, Facebook Live. Sorry, Luciano. So unprofessional. I'm terrible at this.
Man, bad dude.
All right, we're back in action. We're ready. I just wanted to make sure that the computer was charging. Talk about not being technically savvy over simple.
Well, te iba a decir, dude, you should have been promoting this for a week almost.
I
I
know.
these in advance, dude.
All right, so we're good. Okay. So
What
go
else?
back to what you're saying. I'm so sorry about making the same amount or the stress that you
Yeah,
have
no.
with
So
real
yeah,
estate.
there's stresses in every job industry, dude. Like there's stresses over here. Sometimes you have buyers that get cold feet. Sometimes you have sellers that don't want to sell because XYZ. There's stresses in every industry, but I don't feel, maybe it's the paper pushing. I don't but see, there's plenty of paper pushing over here too. But I don't feel right now, I don't feel that that and I really don't know what the word is, but there's that toxic element that weight over your shoulders
Mm,
where you're in the classroom. I don't feel that. The weight that I feel over here is, man, is the deal gonna close? Yes or no? But in the end of the day, it's business. You know,
right.
it's business. So there's stresses everywhere, dude. And
So
I
with that stress, even though there is stress, your quality of daily life is better,
yes,
big time. And I see that. And I'm sure a lot of teachers feel that, weight over their shoulders and, admin, school board. And we're talking about teacher career in general, not any specific district, just in
yeah,
general.
yeah. In
Let's
general, dude, yes, because like I said, some of the real estate agents that I talk to that have become real estate agents are not just in one school district. They're coming from all over.
right.
Everybody's leaving the educational field.
So a lot
So
of teachers.
it's but for me, when I decided to make the move, I just kept playing this one trigger over and over and over and
Mm,
over, and that was my trigger. That was my okay, I need to leave coaching and I need to make a transition into something else, at least to find out, dude. Like, I just needed to find out if there was something else out there for me. Because I kid you not, man. There are days where I miss coaching. There are days where I miss being on the football field. There are days when I miss being in the weight room, where I miss, coaching up a student or an athlete, really, not just a student, but coaching up an athlete, teaching them the form, making and creating men, or making and creating people that are going to be individuals in life, to a point, I was actually struggling recently in November and December. I didn't close any deals, and I was kind of struggling to close a deal. I run into a dude, and he goes, "Man, you've been doing great." I go, "What do you mean I've been doing great?" Because you've been doing awesome with all your podcasts, with your social media posts, and trying to get put your name out there as a real estate agent. I go, "No, man, I feel like I'm struggling right now." He goes, "Dude, didn't you play football at the University of Texas? Didn't you play football?" Didn't football, and this is something, Mendez, that you kind of take for granted, man. Football teaches you one thing, and it teaches you how to handle life. That's the truth of the matter.
No
Yes,
doubt.
you
No
win,
doubt.
yeah, you win championships, you lose championships, you win games, you lose games. The moral of the story behind football is that it teaches you how to become a man.
Absolutely.
It teaches you how to become a man. You learn to face adversity. And so this guy, he, man, you're doing a great job. You're doing da 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 da. And and I was like, okay, cool. He goes, didn't you play football? Didn't they teach you how to face adversity?
Boom.
Fuck. This guy is, I don't even know if he played football or not. But holy shit, when he told me that, dude,
Yeah.
boom. The motor started clicking. I was like, dude, I played football at the University of Texas. I played football at La Jolla. I know how to face and handle adversity. And then sure enough, man, my mindset started to change because
Right.
it was just that little. And I always say, man, everything happens for a reason. And me lo topé, ese vato me lo topé at a Best Buy. He's another real estate agent that I had done a deal with. Uh, what's it called? What's the word? We bonded to a degree.
Yeah.
We were making the deal, and me lo topé en el Best Buy, and he goes, "Dude, you have nothing to worry about. You're facing adversity the same way that you face adversity in football, and that's what football taught you. It taught you how to handle adversity. And I say football teaches you how to be a man and whatnot, but coaching is not just football. Coaching is because I did powerlifting as well, and at some point I did track and wrestling, but that aspect, that coaching aspect, how to face adversity, that's what I like about sports, And I took that for granted for the last 2 or 3 years because I haven't been coaching sports. I haven't gotten my fix of coaching.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like it's something that since I'm not practicing it, I just kind of forgot about it until this guy hit me up and he goes, "Hey, that's what football is all about, dude. Like adversity, baby, adversity." And so, yeah, man. Going back to
Let me chime in here with what I like about football. I didn't play football in high school. I did just junior high, like 3-4 weeks in freshman year. Is what you talk about is the adversity, and from the coaching aspect is we as players or players in general, especially the varsity players, college players, you're dealing with adversity and pain. Like it hurts.
yeah,
Like we can talk about basketball players, we can talk about football, soccer players. And there's injuries or the body, you're pushing your body. Cardiovascular, the baseball players, the mental toughness of the swing, all these things. But having to face that kind of adversity with that kind of pain at the same time, play in, play out, getting hit, it's a different type of person, a football player, I think.
yeah, for sure. Playing while injured, that's not easy. I sat out my sophomore season as a high school football player because I had nerve damage to my left shoulder. So
Dang.
I sat it out, but my story. You know my story.
Yeah.
You come back from that, and talk about adversity. You come back from that. You learn to overcome those challenges.
I think the biggest reason we have you on the show, that I personally wanted you on the show, is because through conversations this whole year,
Oh,
now we're gonna get into the actual coaching part. There's a problem from, like you said, athletic development, the student athlete. Oh, and before I continue, I'm about to dive into it. You mentioned student athletes and the student first. Almost every guy I've ever had on the show that's been a collegiate athlete and collegiate coaches, the very number one is grades. And I think we as a profession in coaching, we need to figure out a way to make sure that these kids understand how important grades hold when they're getting an athletic scholarship. It's a difference between a D1, D2, D3 JUCO. Would you agree?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Go
There's
ahead.
got to be something, maybe, weekend leadership building or collegiate coaches coming. I don't know if that's possible, but there's got to be a solution out there to make sure that these kids understand not are the grades important for you to pass so you can play. It's you're special. You're gonna go D1 unless you don't get your 90s and 80s.
Mhm. So there's two ways to look at that,
Okay.
and you. What I was thinking while you were talking about this is, man, we're gonna Coach Carter the hell out of this shit. That's what I was thinking while you were talking about
I
this.
got you. I got you.
But then what you just said right now, hey, you're special. Do you want to get to the next level?
Right.
That's not necessarily Coach Carter. That's more, I mijito, you're special. Now that also works. That does work. But I'm of the school of the mindset of let's Coach Carter this shit.
Right.
If I want to have a winning football program, a winning sports program, and this is where I think it starts. And people may carry it over a little bit more where they say, hey, it starts at home. For me, as a student athlete, you have that ability, that extra ability beyond just a regular student.
Right.
That says, I have pride. I have pride that if I want to be on that football field, I don't need nobody say, hey, mijito, I need you to work on your grades. Hell no. If I want to be on that football field, I have to make that happen. Ain't nobody going to make that shit happen.
Right.
I have to make that happen. I have to put the part into it, my part into it in the classroom. Let's be honest. Because if you're not in the classroom doing your part, you're not going to be able to be in a football field. Okay, there's the athletics part of it. Yeah, man. Mendez, you don't know this about me, maybe, but I wasn't the most gifted athlete. I wasn't. Okay, man. Maybe I killed it a little bit in the weight room because I was always strong. But
you're naturally strong. You're naturally stronger than most.
We'll say
naturally
that.
stronger. So we talk about that genetically, and one of my the conversation today, and one of the things that I want coaches to realize, when they talk about weights, and that's where me and football coaches bump heads, is you can lift, me versus you, we can lift the same percentages. I'm never going to be stronger than you. If we're lifting the same every day, I'm never going to be stronger than you. Genetically, I just can't.
Right.
But you're never going to be faster than me, because genetically, you're not going to be faster than me.
Right.
You're not going to run a 4.6.
Right. But you can work at it.
Huh?
But you can work at it.
No, you're going to get, don't get me wrong. You can get faster. You can get faster. But remember, I'm taking things into consideration. We're training the exact same way, from weightlifting to speed training. And there's certain people that are going to be stronger than the other guy, and there's certain people that are going to be faster than the other guy.
That is why you have you have skill guys. I do, to a degree.
Absolutely. That's why you have different positions in football.
To a degree. Because I've seen
Of course.
do it.
Of course.
Take me, for example. You don't know me past before. I mean, I don't know when you got a chance to meet me. We started in 2014.
You were coaching. You were already a high school coach at La Jolla.
You didn't meet me in high school.
No.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Go ahead.
In 6th grade, I weighed 242. 6th grade, 242, was maybe 4 feet 5 feet tall.
Estás gordito.
Not gordito. 242, dude. I had the black markings back here. Ready to be diabetic.
Right.
Now, obviously, 6th grade, moving into 7th grade, you hit that the teens where, hey, the girls, right? And so gordito messed up my mind. You know what? I gotta do something about this. So I hit I don't even call it the weight room. I just hit the treadmill, started walking, started running, started eating better. And I went from 242 in the 6th grade. By the time I got to a freshman year, I was weighing 180 pounds. Okay?
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. But ask me how much I bench. Weighing 180 pounds. Ask me how much I bench.
300, 260?
65 pounds.
Oh, I see.
65 freaking pounds. You can ask Coach Benoit. I was not the strongest one in the weight room.
Mm.
At 180 pounds, I was on the white team. Maybe I started. Yeah, I started maybe on the white team. Okay, yeah, I started on the white team. But I was on the white team, not the strongest, and I was definitely not the fastest. Now, I never developed my speed around maybe at maximum a 5'2", or 5'2.5" at maximum.
Right.
But I developed my strength, and that was something that nobody could. I was quick, but no, I developed my strength.
Right.
But
Right.
I didn't become strong overnight. As I mentioned, I was a 180-pound boy benching.
What grade were you in
65.
at that time? What grade? What grade is this? Freshman.
I was a freshman. But you had all these other boys. You have to remember, La Jolla is not what La Jolla is today. La Jolla, back when I was in high school, you had men that were freshmen. I'm talking about big boys.
So one high school at the time.
It was just one high school. You had really strong
stacked.
But see, also to a degree, I think high school boys were I guess more manly at the time. Like I don't know, over the course of time, I feel like when I look at pictures of my dad when he was 18, estaba bien barbudo y bien manly. And when I look at picture of my generation when they were 18, they're manly, but they're not as manly as when my dad was in high school.
Right.
And then I look at the pictures of boys today in high school, they look very like kids. So I feel like, to a degree, I feel like maybe something's in the food or something like that, and that the hormones. I have no idea, but what the point I'm trying to make is I wasn't strong at all.
Right.
And I've developed my strength over the course of time. I'm maintaining my strength now. I don't push heavy anymore. I just right now I think
just stay strong.
Yeah, I rep 315 a couple of times and say I lifted it at least once. So I'm not pushing heavy anymore. That's my goal for me is no longer to lift heavy, but the strength aspect of it was that what you were saying is genetics. I don't know how much genetics actually plays. I think there's a good blend of genetics and hard work, because I could never get faster than a 5'2", and my average was like a 5'5", 5'6".
Well, see, that's my point, Coach. Is hard, when I make the comment about genetics, you work hard, I work hard. We do the same strength training. We do the same speed training. At some point, our genetics is going to separate us.
See, now there's another philosophy there. Your strength training is not going to be the same as my strength training. Your speed training is not going to be the same as my speed training. And here's the reason why. You are an ectomorph, mesomorph.
Right.
I'm an endomorph.
Right.
The way I consume food is different than the way you consume food. The way that I digest food is different than the way you digest food.
Very great point. Now you talk about nutrition and athletes need to know about that. Athletes need to know about that.
So me being an endomorph, I can watch you eat, and I'm the one gaining the weight. So that's the point that I'm trying to make is I'll eat a burger right now, and by the end of the day, I'm weighing 5 extra pounds. Granted, I ate a triple meat cheeseburger with some fries and onion rings on the side and maybe a milkshake. But that's the point I'm trying to make. The way that I consume that food is different than the way you consume that food. So my strength training or I am able to lift heavier today because of I consumed a burger, maybe it had 70% carbs. And the way that I consume that, the way that I digest that allows me to be able to bench press tomorrow heavier or to be able to.
So is that something you learn how to do, or is that because that's the way you're built?
Learn how to eat?
The endomorph, ectomorph. Are you born that way, or do you become an endomorph?
That is a great question, dude. That I don't know. I don't think.
My point is about genetics.
I don't think I could be a hectomorph.
Because you were born a certain. My point is, you're born a certain way. You're gonna be a certain speed, a certain strength, depending on your body type, because of who your mom is, who your dad is, who your grandfathers were.
But see, that's the fun part.
And there's a fine line where there's a gray area.
I know a 315-pound high school man or high school boy when we were in high school that ran sub 5 in the 40.
And we talk about that as coaches. We talk about those outliers or those elite NFL players, which is awesome. But then we got to talk about, it's like, oh, hold on now. Come back from the NFL.
Yeah.
Come back from the collegiate. And
Come
let's talk
back to the
about
average.
And let's talk about 956. Let's talk about the 956.
No. Not the 956. So don't even get me started on that one,
Because there's elite, and then there's elite 956, and then there's what you say, the average solid athlete.
But there's an average solid athlete or average athlete across the state of Texas, across the nation.
Right.
So you have bundles in schools.
Mm-hmm.
You have bundles of athletes that make the team as a whole, right? But the point that I was trying to say that is because it's always been the Valley can't leave beyond Corpus Christi in terms of football, right? And there's something about that, but see, once you go past the Valley, there's a combination of speed and strength in most of those teams. That makes the team a whole, right?
Right.
I'm not saying that
then you got Brownsville over there beating a Corpus Christi team.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Past Corpus Christi, past San Antonio. Right. Like I don't think since the Donna Redskins that what's it called, that won the state championship, but but see, now we talk about another thing, dude. Like
it's loaded. This conversation is loaded.
There is. It is, because here's another one outside of sports. The culture in the Rio Grande Valley is here. Está como tapada. I was talking to a lady. She moved down from Dallas. She's a paralegal. And I was doing my calls. And when I call people, I'm a very friendly guy, so I have conversation with people. And I was calling, going down my list. I have this, we have a conversation. We have a 30-minute conversation about not even buying houses. We have a 30-minute conversation about the culture of the Rio Grande Valley versus the culture outside. In that, she was talking about the Dallas people. Okay. And she was saying, I got here to the Valley and I was culture shocked. Now, talk about culture shock. I was culture shocked when I left the Rio Grande Valley and I went to Austin. I was culture shocked. Okay. I went
through the same thing. Yeah, it's different.
Because it's very different. She was culture shocked when she got into the Valley, being that she's Mexican and whatnot, but she lived all her life in Dallas.
Hispanic in Dallas, Houston, to the Valley is very different.
So she comes down and the first thing she tells me after like 15 minutes of conversing with her, she goes, Luciano, I can't believe how people are here in the Valley. The culture, there's a culture to us. Okay, there's a culture to us. And so I think that culture of ours, that mindset of ours here in the Rio Grande Valley, in this South Texas region, it puts a block. It puts some sort of block that we can't, for whatever reason, like we can function, we can work, but she was talking about the mindset of the average worker in the setting that she was in. She's talking about like, everybody around here wants certain things without an education, and that's what she said. How are you gonna work?
Entitled.
That might be it, because she was talking about she's got her pre-law degree or something to that effect, and she's working as a paralegal. And then she was like, "Man, I'm in competition with people that don't even have a law degree."
Man,
they didn't even go to college to get a job. So and then she goes like, so these people around me, they think that they have what it takes to be a paralegal or an assistant to a lawyer.
Do you need a law degree to be a paralegal?
I don't know. I'm not gonna be the one to answer that.
Because here let me. There's so many examples of outliers or whatever it is, but when college comes into play and the communicate and the conversations we have as educators in college, I'm going to tell you like this: if my son or daughter if they do not want to go to college, then don't go to college.
Yeah.
But whatever it is you enjoy, if you have to go to community college or a trade school, whatever it is, but you're good at it and you love it, be good at it. And if you can be a paralegal without having to go to college and you're good at it and you have the knowledge for it, what's the big deal?
There is no big deal to us.
Okay. Some people are good at stuff without having to go somewhere, you know?
Yeah, no, and I get that. And I don't know if you need a degree for a paralegal or not. And I don't know if that's what she was talking about, but she was talking about like the mindset. Yeah, there was an example.
But the point here is the mindset of the 956.
Yeah.
That's to athletics. We can't get across, you know, the playoffs, whatever it is. Very few make it. We're talking about speed. We're talking about genetics. We're talking about strength. So are they faster than us? Are they stronger than us? Are they bigger than us? Are they coached better than us?
No. I think we have a mental block.
You think that's what it is going into the game already?
I think we have a mental block. I think that's what it is. There's a block of some sort that is stopping us from getting past a certain point.
Because athletically, we are about the same. You would say you're making that argument.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
because to me, in football, I can let's just say I'm trying to block you. There's no way I'm gonna block you, bro. I have to push you back. There's no way I'm gonna push you back. You're just too big. You're bigger than me. You're stronger than me. It's gonna be hard.
That's your mental block.
I'm gonna try my best.
That's your mental block. I'm gonna try my best.
So you don't think 70% of the time you'll win that battle? You versus me?
How many times did I lose my battle in college?
But now we're talking about
I lost a battle chingos of times. But
because of the mental block or because they were more athletic?
Huh?
Because of a mental block or because they were more athletic?
Well, they were more athletic. I'm telling you, I wasn't very athletic.
And now we're talking about athleticism, genetics, and you were a hard worker.
That's what I am. I'm a hard worker.
And if you get, como dijo, there's a guy, I coach one of the kids that I coach. He told me hard work beats talent until talent decides to work.
Exactly.
So now you get talented athletes that are working hard. Pues, I mean, at that point, que corazón y que I have heart, hey, but I have heart too, and I'm more athletic. Now that makes a difference.
Yeah, but see, now we're talking about being athletic versus being genetic. Just because you're athletic doesn't mean
it's a genetic trait to be athletic.
I don't know that.
You're telling me genetics doesn't have anything to do with you being athletic?
No. Me being athletic has to do with how hard I worked. And I can't even tell you that I'm athletic.
Because you know what? And here's another one. And there's another conversation that we have is where now you get into, how people can get a little picky and play devil's advocate. Now, what's athleticism to you? And everybody has a different, well, because you can do this, you're athletic. Because you can do that, you're athletic. Little things like that. One of the things,
I walk a mile every day.
Huh?
I walk a mile every day. I'm athletic. Because ask me to run? Fuck no. Ask
right?
Me to run?
Here was my general statement when I had the coaches that I had a unofficial roundtable with.
Okay.
Was even with the genetics and the athletics and the weights and all this speed stuff and how to manage athletic periods, how to manage all these kids. And it's tough. It's not easy. Hats off to all the coaches in high school, especially high school coaches. But I said, I think what we're missing is where there's a clear consensus amongst all coaches from different sports on what we require to make our programs with an S, plural, better, and then we went into the sharing of athletes and why this guy didn't make this position because he lifted too many weights. If he wouldn't have lifted weights, and then it's one of those things.
Yeah.
So what should be the consensus? What kind of problems did you see from athletic development? Oh, here's my summary on what you started. Are we too soft?
Yes. Who? The coaches?
Give
or
us
the-
examples of why we're too soft as parents and as coaches.
Mira, dude, honestly, I don't like to get into this conversation because I don't like to hurt feelings, but here's the truth of the matter.
General statements. You can make general statements.
Here's the truth of the matter. My dad, when he talks about how my dad played, and I talk about my dad because my dad was an athlete. My dad was an athlete.
All right.
He wasn't strong, dude. Maybe he claims he was strong, but my dad was an athlete in Mexico. And at the time, he always talks about, I don't know how true this is, but he always talks about how they played on caliche.
Okay.
No, but you see where I'm going with this already, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So one day I come home with stickers. Our practice field has stickers. So I come and say, oh, I have stickers. And that's the story he gives me. We played on caliche. You fall on rocks.
Get over it.
Get over
it, Luciano.
Get over it. So, and this is where I might get in trouble, but you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a shit. We practice on stickers. We practice with holes on the football field. You know? So when I hear a story where they're might get in trouble for this, dude, but when I hear a story where they're doing bear crawls on a particular kind of
grass, Bermuda, on a particular Bermuda grass.
That's too nice, dude. No, when they're doing bear crawls on a particular kind of a soil, I'll leave it at soil. That way, a little bit more generic.
Okay.
The first thing that crossed my mind, I was like, dude, get over it. We practice on cadillos. My dad practiced on caliche. Are you mentally tough for a football game? Yes or no? But see, ¿Quién les hizo ese pedo? The parent. The parent is the one that complained. The student, I don't think I complained. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I got a bunch of stickers in my hand, Dad, but I'm good. Did my dad go and complain? Did my mom go and complain? That didn't happen.
The 80s, the 90s, early 2000s is not what it is today. It's not what it is today.
No.
So I get what you're saying. Do we as coaches meet people halfway and build better facility where there's nice Bermuda grass and still bear crawl?
Nice. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. I'm not saying don't do that. That would be freaking awesome.
Eliminate the issue, the stickers. Have a nice Bermuda grass field.
All right. But no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, eliminate the. Yeah, you could have done the bear crawls on a turf. You're right. But for me, that toughness,
that extra toughness, that you got to be extra tough for that.
Well, it wasn't so much the toughness for me. What triggered my you gotta be tough was that the parent complained. I don't know. Maybe I felt jealous.
That your dad didn't complain.
My dad didn't defend me or something like that. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, why do parents have to complain about everything?
Too much. There's some that are valid. There's some that are valid.
Yeah, and maybe this one's valid. I'll take that back, and that's why I didn't want to say anything because I'm sure the parent is worried about their athlete. I'm sure they care for their well-being, but at the same time, okay, mijito, mijita, they're just sticker blisters. You're fine. You're fine. They didn't lose a finger. They didn't lose a hand. They didn't lose an arm. They didn't get broken. They're fine. It's a little blister.
Work order for some Roundup on those stickers. Boom.
I don't know. That kind of triggered me to that degree. And so I'm of the mindset that the parent needs to stop being as involved in certain areas.
I think it'd be interesting to know how valid some of these cases are. And people aren't going to share it. Districts aren't going to share it. Athletic directors aren't going to share it. Coaches aren't going to share it. It just stays between them, the parent, and the kid. Yeah. But it'd be interesting to know because you hear stuff that you're like, what? For that? Okay. I'm having a parent conference?
Okay. And you just said it stays between the coaches, it stays between the district. Don't publicize it. Don't publicize it. Maybe that's what triggered me. Why are you going to the news? I made a mistake as a coach. Dude, you know how many times? Excuse me. I'm a cursor, and you've heard me curse a couple of times, sir. I coach with a cursing personality. Do you know how many times I cursed? Not at a kid, but at a situation.
Right.
I curse. It brings I'm passionate about shit.
Right.
You know? So do you know how embarrassed I probably would have been to get, ostracized in the news because Coach Martinez dropped a fuck bomb?
Did that really happen?
Dude, no, I didn't. I didn't get in the news, but I cursed all the time.
Well, no, I'm not asking about that, but like the complaints and stuff. I'll tell you what, though, you coming from a collegiate experience and those who work around collegiate sports, you understand coaches are a certain way.
They're passionate.
And you know what, Luciano, and Coach Martin, and I think I'm going to make a point here. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but
go for it.
If you don't cuss at home as a parent, I get it. But if you're cussing at home around your kids, should that be a some kind of saying, okay, you know what? I cuss around my kids. Why am I going to get mad at the coach? Now, you're not cussing at them or degrading. Like you said, like, God, I don't know what you might say on a situation, but
you should have gotten that fucking guy. You should have fucking tackled that guy. That guy was your fucking guy to get. I see. Why'd you fucking catch him?
Gee,
why are you too slow? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, but you know what? It's interesting, though, how many people watch you talk about this right now, and the old schools, the one that played in the 90s, played in the 80s, early 2000s, are going to be like, dude, that's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
That's nothing.
Because they play with leather helmets.
And some of the people that watch this probably did. Right?
Yeah,
so we talk about tough. We talk about toughness. We talk about we're too soft as
te congelaste, bro.
As coaches, you can't be too tough on kids. I froze. I'm back. No? I'm back.
You're back.
I don't know. One of us is freezing.
Ahí está.
Who knows? But we talk about soft. There's got to be a way to be. It's okay to be tough around kids. We got to figure that one out.
We do. What
would be the solution to that? I have no clue.
Well, so I talked to a buddy of mine, and one of the things was this, and he said this: every year I start off with a parent meeting, and I talk to the parents about letting me coach. Let me coach. Don't come and ask me why your son is not playing. Let me coach. Let me coach. If you have an issue that is not related to me coaching, to me winning in my program, we can talk about it elsewhere. But let me coach. Don't come at me and say, how come my son or my daughter's not playing? Don't come at me and say, how come this happened in the football field? If there is a legitimate reason that we need to talk, I'll be the one to and I may be missing some of his words there, but that's the moral of the story. Like, have this parent meeting early on in the semester before the football season starts, and be adamant about letting me coach. Let them know what kind of personality you have. Let them know that, hey, I'm going to take care of this football program. I'm going to take care of this powerlifting program. I'm going to take care of this basketball program. I'm going to take care of my program if you let me coach. But let me coach my way. And at the end of the season, I have not been a successful coach, and that's a different story.
Right.
But let me coach my way. Don't come at me and tell me, hey, how come you put my son to too many squats? How come you put my son to too many sit-ups? I don't need to hear that. I'm trying to make your student athlete a better athlete. I'm trying to make your student athlete mentally tough, because toughness doesn't always equate to doing bear crawls. Toughness equates to facing that adversity. And if you got one more rep, you got one more rep.
Right.
And if you got another set, then you got another set.
Right.
So don't come at me and tell me, hey, my son can't, obviously there's legitimate reasons, right? Obviously they're hurt, but let me coach my way. Let me be my passionate self. The one time, man, and again, I don't know if I should say this. There was a pep rally. You know me, Rudy, Coach Mendez. I'm passionate. I like to get
We
excited.
all we all know that.
I'm a hoorah kind of guy to a
Mm,
degree. Like, wow,
yeah,
So
get hype.
I'm running around the pep rally, fucking doing waves and shit. And somebody
But
asked,
the gym is getting hyped,
the gym is getting hyped.
and
Yeah.
that's a pep rally.
Yeah. But I get asked to relax a little bit. I get asked to simmer down. And I did, I did. I
Yeah,
started to realize that to a degree I was
you
taking
scale
over
it
the
down.
pep rally, you know. But let me be me.
Mm.
Let me have that energy in wherever, dude. Like there was times I was punching walls in the classroom just because I was excited about putting a x to the power of 2. Let me be my passionate self. And then you get asked to, hey, you're making too much noise in the classroom. You can quiet down a little bit. You know what I mean?
And you know what? As I hear you say this, and I think most coaches would agree with the statement I'm going to make right now. Is you sound like a young coach when you give me those examples, because I think as you grow older, you learn to scale certain things back. You don't yell as much. You get used to certain kids being a certain way. So but it's great stuff though. Don't get me wrong. It's great stuff. Being that young guy, I remember I was the AC one time and I had the other coach, young kid. I said, you know what? I gave him an assignment. I said, you know what? You're the younger guy, right? These guys are 13, 14 years old. You're more hip. I already have gray hair right here.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna buy into you being more cool, right? And I said, the assignment I gave him was come up with some chants and the cheers for the football team.
Right.
Not who are, but who's got my back, linebackers, who stuff like that. And sure enough, the kids bought into it. He comes up with some chants, some cadences, whatever it might be. But it's part of building that culture where sometimes that young energy, you need it in every program, I think.
Uh-huh. When you say young energy, you're talking about the coach themselves being young, or you're talking about the coach feeling young?
Oh, I feel 23 every day, baby. I feel 23 every day. Hey. But I'm just saying where the kids are like, oh, there's a young guy. They might buy into it a little bit more. And that one example I'm giving you.
Mm-hmm.
But there should be both. You're younger, and at the same time, the older guys still feel young while they're coaching. I mean, I could tell you right now, I'm gonna name drop right now. I hope he doesn't mind, but you talk to my boy Eric Montalvo, and he'll tell you he can go dunk it 360 tomorrow.
Orale.
And it's just you feel young. You're in it. That's the mindset. I was talking to this other buddy of mine. He goes, you know what's funny about this generation? He goes, I'm watching these cats play basketball. This guy's not even a basketball player. He goes, I can step on the court right now, and I know I'm gonna win. Not the greatest basketball player, but he goes, I know I'm going to win because you have that mindset of, hey, I'm young. The back doesn't work as well, but I'm still going to find a way to go in and win.
So you said something right now. You said somebody you kind of get used to these kids and how they act. Is that what you said? The coach gets used to it, so it doesn't have that.
Right. Actually, I had that conversation with a 25-year-old veteran. His example was, I react differently to them in the sense of the high blood pressure where like you see a smirk or he did something wrong. I've seen that kid every year. Now I know it's going to happen. Instead of me blowing up, I know you still scold them, you still get after them, but the reaction is not as intense because it's a yearly thing. Is part of them being kids. That was the example I'm coming up with.
Okay.
The background behind that comment.
I thought you were saying they were getting worn out.
No. Hey, don't get me started on that one, Luciano. One time somebody said that. I'm like, this was a comment.
Go for it.
I've already did that I earned my stripes. And I was like, wait a minute. But the new kids that are coming in, you didn't do that for them. You did that for the kids 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that energy, that young, thinking young, you're in it, is every year. Is every year. And I think personally, when a coach says, no, I already earned my stripes, it's time for me to chill and relax, then you need to retire.
Mm.
You need to retire and don't do an injustice to the new kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I can jump, I'm gonna jump into I can't jump no more.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If I can be loud, if I can be energetic, I'm gonna be energetic until I can't be energetic no more.
And that's and see, now you're getting into personality. Now you're getting into personality of a coach. Because now we're talking now I'm gonna jump into this, Luciano.
Go for
that
it.
Coach, young Coach Martinez is
35.
is sometimes you know X's and O's. I know X's and O's. A bunch of coaches know X's and O's. A bunch of coaches can learn X's and O's on YouTube, Instagram, whatever it might be, TikTok. But I think what separates, and I think what we as admin and people that are hiring is, what's the personality? And who buys into it? Does your coaching staff buy into that personality? Do the kids buy into your personality? Because at this point, I think most people that love sports or like sports or that are in it, they know X's and O's. But I think the biggest difference maker is that personality, because of what and your personality is what brings that kind of energy. How do we make sure we agree with that, or what makes a good coach a good coach? Or is that a factor in being a good coach?
I think that's a factor in being an educator.
I like that.
You have to build the rapport. Nobody's gonna work with you. Nobody wants to do the work for you if you don't have that rapport. So if you have the rapport as an educator, as a football coach, as a powerlifting coach, you somebody's gonna want to work with you. And to this point, outside of sports. I go to a listing appointment. I meet with you. Hey, Rudy, I'm gonna list your house. Right. You're not gonna want to work with me. You know what I mean? So what I do first? Hey, Rudy, stay in your kitchen. I'm gonna go walk around the house. Hey, Rudy, I've already walked around your house. I've built that rapport. Now I know what to talk to you about. You know what I mean? Go back to education. You have to have that rapport in football, in education, so that so you build that connection with that student, with that athlete. You want to be able to find some sort of connection so that you can sell him that he's going to be a good athlete, or that you're going to work your ass off to be able to help him out. That's the idea. For me, you have to have that rapport as an educator. If you don't have good rapport as an educator, whether you're coaching or not, then your student is not going to want to work, But then you get into another aspect of it all. Going back into the classroom, everybody's freaking lazy right now, dude.
Hey, COVID did a number on people, man. COVID did a number on people.
Yeah, COVID, something. They I don't know, man. Like the inside of the classroom is down, and so you can have that rapport, and I think that's the other reason, Rudy, Coach Mendez. I going back to that toxic element. You're struggling to get a student to do the work. You're struggling to get the student, and dude, that drags your ass down too, man. Like,
yeah, it's frustrating. It can be frustrating.
And so again, going back to that whole pencil pushing stuff or paper pushing, it's not always about that. Sometimes you get tired of dealing with, before you were dealing with one or two that didn't want to do their shit. Now you're dealing with 10, 11, 12, 13, 50%, 60% of the classroom. And deja tú, 70% to 85% of the classroom is cheating.
No, pues no.
How are you supposed to teach shit? Like, I'm over here working my ass off, being all energetic, have my my Coach Martinez personality in the classroom.
Punching the wall off of excitement.
Punching
X
the wall.
squared.
Dude, my favorite class to teach was Algebra 2.
Yeah.
Especially the harder stuff. And even when I did pre-calculus, dude, I felt like a student myself. And I was like, hey, guys, on the board and all that good shit. And,
Right.
But then you get back to the reality of things. 60-70% of the students find a way to cheat.
No, but no.
So yeah, I have good rapport as a personality, but now, like, what do you do so that you don't get dragged down by the people that don't want to work in the classroom? And it's not just the classroom. We go back to the football field. For many years we had their situations with kids not showing up to practice.
That's tough.
Yeah. So how
now we go now you're getting into the meat of what I wanted to converse about. Is a question I got asked a lot this season is, ¿qué está pasando? ¿Por qué no estamos ganando? And I'm like, man, that's a loaded question, man. I mean, there's so many factors.
There's one answer to that.
One.
I don't care what anybody says.
Because I'm about to rebuttal, but go.
I don't care what anybody says. Politics fuck shit up at La Jolla.
Oh, snap. I didn't see that coming.
And what I mean by that is,
I didn't see that coming. Explain yourself.
What I mean by that is, they never should have gone from 1 to 3 schools. Since that moment, and I don't care who they are, since that moment, that ruined sports
in our area.
And yeah,
because see now let me give you the counter though. There's other districts that have 3 schools, 4 schools.
No, stop. There is no counter. Let me tell you why there's no counter.
Okay.
None of the school districts went from 1 to 3 or 4. They went from 1 to 2 and then 3. They build. I mean, as far as I know, I may be wrong, but as far as I am aware, those went from 1 school to 2 to 3. What happened over here? They went from 1 to 3 and then Idea came over.
Oh, hey, I'll tell you what though, I think Idea has a big influence on success.
But see, where's the talent pool? Where's the talent pool? When it was a 1 school system?
Oh, stop! I lived it.
So when you go from 1 to 3 to begin with, yes, we all knew it was gonna hurt. But what you should have done is gone from 1 to 2. Build those programs, and then once you get loaded up there, go from 2 to 3. But and I'm not saying that I don't know how to. Maybe I messed up by saying politics, but somebody made the decision to go from 1 to 3.
Right.
And that was the biggest screw up they could have done to any athletic program, and even academics, dude. Academics have not been the same since the split.
I mean, I see your point, and I want to say that's a great point when it comes to the winning aspect of it, because then you go and say there's kids that got to participate that wouldn't have participated if it was 1 school.
But again, let me coach my way. Let me build you a winning program.
Wait, okay. So that comment was a devil's advocate because I go back into participation in what I worked in when I was at Loyola Marymount, Indiana State, UTSA. But then here's the kicker there, or here's where the comparison is. Edinburgh has 4 schools. PSJ North has to deal with 4 schools. McAllen's have 3 schools.
Did they go from 1 to 3?
No, I don't know the history behind that, but I think we've been in the game long enough to where we should be competing already.
There is no students in the high schools, dude. There's no students in the high school. Where are you getting your talent from?
I don't know. Where are they?
Son poquitos. How many students are in the football program? 50? 45?
¿Y por qué tan poquitos? Okay, let's talk about that. Why so little numbers?
Because there's no pool to pull from. You go back in the day, you were talking about having 200 football athletes. You had to have a varsity team, a JV red, a freshman white, a freshman red. You don't have that here today. And I think at one point before the ideas really came out here, we were starting to build, 100 and some plus kids.
All right, here, check this out. Check this out. And I'm with you. I'm to a certain extent, but check this out. And I get it at the beginning. We it hurt.
It was going to happen. Yeah.
And I think we've been there long enough. We've been there long enough of the split to where we should already have success. But here's the example I'm going to give you. I don't know how many junior highs were around when you were in junior high, because you're a product. I'm a product. When I was in school, there was 3 junior highs.
Okay.
3 junior highs. And then, those 3 junior highs get to that one high school.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, there's approximately the same number of junior highs feeding into each high school.
No.
From that aspect.
No.
No. I'm telling you, there is.
I'm telling you, there isn't.
There's 8 junior highs feeding 3 high schools.
Right. But the number of students that are supposed to be going to that high school are not going to that high school.
Where are they going?
But okay, well, how many high schools do we have? And you said 3. Those are 3 comprehensive high schools. But you have your other little vocational schools that we have. That you have Thelma, you have that one, you have that, and then you have your ideas. And now you have this whole idea now
and
too.
You have to include the ideas in the mix.
And then you have this other idea too that I am zoned to La Jolla School District, but guess what? I'm going over there to Sherryland. I'm going to McAllen because I live close enough. I'm going to Mission because I live close enough. So
that's another one. They're leaving.
Today, you don't have, if I'm zoned to La Jolla ISD, I don't have to go to La Jolla High School or La Jolla School District. From what I understand, I can go to Mission if I live, even if I live in La Jolla ISD school zone. I understand you're allowed to go to Mission. I think recruitment now is happening.
Open enrollment.
Yeah.
All districts are open enrollment. You can go. I mean, I'll tell you what, though. Let me give you an example. Now that I'm in the youth soccer programs, and I had heard about this happening in Dallas and San Antonio. So the youth soccer team, they're all zoned. They're in the McAllen area, Edinburgh area, and they're like, "Hey, what junior high are we going to in 8th grade? Because we need to establish residency to that high school in 8th grade, so our daughters can play varsity the freshman year." And don't get me wrong. At least 70% of those girls are going to play varsity their freshman year. Mm-hmm. And then the other 30% probably by their sophomore year. Mm-hmm. So those parents are already getting together and saying, "Hey, we're going to go to where we're going to go together. Yeah. Forget where I live. Now we're establishing residency."
Yeah.
And that's an issue that you mentioned, and it is happening.
It is. So when you're talking about middle schools all feeding into one high school or the other high school, that's not happening. Yes, they're supposed to theoretically feed into those high schools, but that is not happening. Okay, times have changed, and maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
And see, that's a great point that you present. One of the problems, and see, here's part of the conversation I wanted to have with you is let's list the problems and let's talk about them. And hey, what are the solutions? So then, great comment right here. Hey, so here's the deal. And here, I'm about to go on a sidetrack. Thanks, Luciano Martinez, for messing up my whole train of thought. But here it comes. He just, another point that I've been watching in the NFL and in college, to Alan Montalvo's comment, is coaching makes a huge difference for winning programs. Because here's the deal. We're talking about the split hurt us. We can't win. But then you got this guy winning district titles. His brother is a hell of a coach.
Oh, most definitely.
So why is he winning and others aren't?
He's got the students. He's got the kids.
Do you know how hard it is to play basketball?
I don't. No,
you don't.
But
I was part of that development of most of his varsity squad when I was at Chavez Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
When you get those kids raw, I mean, they're raw.
Right.
But you develop the culture, the hard work. So obviously this guy's brother is doing something right. What it is, I have no idea.
He does a great job. He's a great coach, but he's got depth. He's got.
Oh, don't let him hear you say that.
No, he
Because
does.
they'll be like,
He
what
does.
depth are you talking about?
He's got more than 5 kids, right? That's how many kids he needs to play basketball. He's got.
Okay,
he's
yes,
got
he has more than 5.
He's got
He has
10.
more than 5.
He's got 10.
You could say 10 on the varsity squad.
Does he have 15?
About 10. We'll just say 10. I don't know how many he has. But he has more than 5. He has a bench. He has a bench.
He's got 10.
Sure.
That's just in the varsity. He's got how many in the JV White?
I have no idea.
He's
I would
got
say let's say an average of 10 per team.
10 per team. So that's 40
Varsity,
kids.
JV, freshman light. 40
That's
kids.
14. He's got 40 kids. He's got more kids in the football program.
Wait, what?
He's got more kids in the football program.
Okay. So let's go back to where we were going before that threw me off on a tangent. Is there's that's another problem. Why do we not have that many kids?
The distribution of kids that are not coming to the high schools.
Now, let me give you some math because you're a math teacher, right? You're math. You're
Sure.
the math guy.
Math guy, yeah.
Okay, so this is the way I see it, and this is where basketball. I'm gonna give you secondary and skill player concept here, right? Because I believe you can develop a good basketball player. You're gonna develop great receivers and secondary.
Right.
You don't have to agree with me. Just
No.
that's my belief. But here comes the math and why I think this will work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going on live television because I've said it to coaches. I leave voicemails on WhatsApp, and we mess around or whatever it is.
Okay.
So let's do some math real quick. I'm an
Mhm.
elementary teacher or
Okay.
elementary coach, right? I have about, on average, 9 guys. 9 guys. I'm going to teach 9
9 guys
already athletic. I'm going to develop them over the next 4 years. I'm going to get 12 guys, right? 12
Okay.
guys. Those 12 guys, and I send my head coaches videos. See, I think all elementary coaches should send what they're doing at least once or twice a week, videos of what they're doing to their head high school coach and sports specific head coaches, right? Luckily for me, I have a very good, I just care so much about the program. Hey, Coach Martinez, the head coach. Hey, coach, I have a video. Let me show you what I'm doing. That just I have that responsibility to the kids and to the program. I'm a varsity minded coach at the elementary level. I think that's just the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 12. By the time they leave me, I'm going to send 12 solid guys, football players that know how to play flag football. And I can go on a tangent, but the quick nutshell is I taught them how to play flag football, and now they ask to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, hey, coach, let's play football. Either way, 12 guys. I'm going to send 12 guys.
Mm-hmm.
There's 20 some elementary, something like that. But let's just say, one high school has 3 feeder schools.
Uh-huh.
In that feeder school of junior high, those 12 guys I had, there's at least 3 other elementaries. So what's 12 times 3?
12 times 3 is 36.
36. Okay. So now there's 36 solid guys at the junior high level.
Mm-hmm.
Most high schools send our feeder. There's 3 junior high feeder schools. Mm-hmm. So now 36 times 3?
108.
108. So if we're all doing our part, we're sending 108, let's say even 120 for late development, late bloomers, 120 male athletes ready.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we not have 120? And I haven't dispersed them into soccer, baseball, basketball, and football.
Mm-hmm.
Should 120 athletes be enough?
Should 120 athletes be enough?
Solid athletes.
If they're all playing football, yes. Well, now, they can do multiple sports. That's fine. But if you have 120 football players, you have depth on both sides of the field. But you don't have 120 football players. You have 120 football players, maybe in combination of all levels. That's the truth of the matter, Rudy.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that because I left that part out. I'm glad you mentioned that because you triggered something. That's one grade level. Now,
Right.
a junior and a senior ball club, 120 times 2 is 240.
Uh-huh.
So 240 seniors, 240 juniors,
Hmm.
and let's just sprinkle in 60 more guys that are solid sophomores. That's
Okay.
300 athletes we should have.
Should,
I mean,
but we don't. And
I
there's
believe
really,
I'm
and
going to
there, and
send them my part. I believe I'm going to send them my part.
but there's a lot of
Mathematically, I'm
factors.
doing my part.
At this point. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors.
And we
You
talk,
know,
and that's why you're here is we want to talk about the
so
problems, why this solution doesn't work. Why is my math off? What problems are we facing that we're not having 300 solid athletes playing all sports? I mean, 300. Let's just take 300.
right.
Let's talk about the problem. I'm sending 300
Mm-hmm.
according to we're all doing our part correctly. We're sending 300. We're dispersing them into football players, basketball players, baseball players, soccer players. What else is there? Swimmers, powerlifting, whatever it may be.
All the
So
sports.
let's take a percentage of football players. Let's say we keep 30%. 300 times 30% is what? 90?
I'm sorry. I kind of blocked this number, but yes.
Okay.
I'm thinking about my rebuttal here.
Right. I get it. And that's one of the America's communication problem, that you're so busy thinking about your rebuttal that you're not listening to me, and that's okay. That's a communication major right there. But okay, so I'm gonna give you 90. The football program, according to my math, should have 90. And I'm talking about varsity, senior, junior, some sophomore ball club.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we not have 90?
Beats the hell out of me, dude, because I
So
don't
what
know.
are some of the problems you saw?
So some of the problems we saw was they just are not into it, dude. They just are not into it. Some of them are working. Some of them, I have a friend who's a really good friend of mine, and he said he played football in middle school and in elementary, but once he got to the high school level, he couldn't. His dad or his mom, they had him work. I have my dog barking. My family
No,
just
that's
got.
fine. No soy mucho.
Pero that's the truth of the matter. Penny, that they have other tasks that they have to worry about, or that makes them miss practice or something to that effect, because we don't have 90 kids. And you tell me where they are, I don't know. Penny. So mi perrita es que ya llegaron mis kids,
Okay.
I'm barking.
They're excited. Yeah.
So, but
Don't worry about it.
Ask me where those kids are. I don't know, because when you do a sports banquet at La Jolla High School, there are not 300 kids there.
Interesting.
There are
so
not.
My math is off.
Well, the numbers are just disappearing, dude.
I think my philosophy could be correct, but we need to figure out why my philosophy doesn't work. Because if I'm sending 12 per grade level, 12 per grade level, maybe 8, even if you street number to 8, that's still a good number.
Right.
8 per every elementary?
You tell me where they're at. To me, I go back to the whole idea that they're not coming to La Jolla, or they're not coming to Palmview, or they're not coming to Juárez.
But one of the problems is they're transferring out. So then what's the solution to keep them here?
No,
that's what I want to talk about. A lot of people always complain and this and this and this. Okay, so how do we solve it? How do we solve the issue?
No open enrollment. But see, now if you don't have open enrollment, you have the whole I don't have enough kids in the school. They're in their phones. they're there. They're just not there. They're there physically, but not there. So Luciano is right. 1 to 3 schools hurt a lot, and yes, people made money by making that decision. And another factor was sitting out COVID. We already behind, and you sit out during COVID when other schools didn't. Yeah, that's another factor. But where are these kids going? Like, what happened to them? Like, se desaparecieron.
That's a very interesting factor that I had never taken into consideration. How many are leaving?
Not too many.
I'm talking about just transferring out. Because I'll tell you what, Did you, when you were around coaching, did you coach versus Mission High School when Coy was there or Demmer, whatever his name was?
I think I did my last year there or last 2 years. I think so.
See, you can't tell me, you cannot tell me that whole squad was on to Mission. There's no way.
The whole squad was zoned to Mission. That they had? Oh, probably not, dude. Probably not.
No, I know. I've asked some resources, some people, and them are being there. Had people transferring into Mission,
Mm-hmm. No, I guarantee it. I'm sure.
and some of them were, like you said, hurt our program because they left.
That's the point. They're not at La Jolla. They're not at Palmview. They're not at Juarez. They're not even at the other 2 or 3
academies or whatever
academies that we have there. But that's another problem too. I mean, by all means, there's jobs for people and whatnot. But the truth of the matter is this: the same way that I don't know that STEM existed, those kids who are there don't know that football exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your zone to your thing. It's kind of like when I was in high school, dude. As a teacher, I saw this. As a student, I never paid attention to what was in front of me. You know, I went to my classes. I never skipped class. I never did anything like that. Do you know how many issues we have in our hallways? So many issues, dude. And maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but there is so much shit moving through the hallways.
Hey, let me give you a nice story about that. Hey, I'm proud. Hey, I'm at UTSA. I'm in San Antonio. You know, I'm 21, 22. You know, we go to OBR back in the day. Shout out to people I know about Old Blanco Road. And proud, super proud. You know, top 10%. I got a full ride scholarship, financial aid, all these things, right? Hey, I'm smart, athletic, decent looking. You know, what's up? So I go and I'm with my buddy, Victor Robles. We call him Thick Vic. He goes, hey, let's talk to these girls. And I'm like, man, come on, man. He goes, no, come on, man. Come on. I'm like, sure, whatever. We start up a conversation. Your typical, hey, what's up, whatever. You know, we're joking, we're laughing, you know, charisma, personality, whatever. Hey, where are you from? Hey, we're from the Valley. And I'm talking, hey. And I'm just like, okay, what? Me too. I'm from, and I get excited. I'm like, oh, shoe in here. Hey, where are you from? The Valley? I'm from where are you from? Oh, we're from Memorial. What? I'm from La Jolla. Man.
Bye.
Bro, that was the very, that was the very first time. That was the very first time where I felt that stigma. And it hurt. And it hurt. Because pride, year of the Coyote 99, we won. I had engineers, lawyers, doctors. I mean, we were stacked. And and it hurt, man.
I have to chime in on this. I never felt that. In fact, me being a math guy,
it only happened that one time.
I never felt that. I may have felt that as a Mexican, every time I spoke to somebody that wasn't Mexican, I felt like my accent just came out gacho bad. But I never felt that. Oh, you're from La Jolla. You're ghetto. I never felt that because again, what was I? I was that nerd. I knew what I was. You know, I was a nerd. I was in my studies all the time. I had my zone. So when I talk to you about there's as a teacher today, we see everything that goes down in the hallways. Those same things were happening when I was in high school as well. I just didn't see them.
So that was my point of the story, is that as a student, I didn't know that. I was an AP student. I go to my classes, hang out with all the nerds. You know, we're all top 10%, whatever, top 20.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying now, that the troublemakers, you know, all these things, getting in trouble, whatever it might be, why they're getting in trouble. But as a student, you didn't see that. But now you were there. Now you saw that and you recognize that.
Yeah. As a teacher, you start to see all that is happening. But see, you go back to, okay, is it just happening in La Jolla? No, it's not.
No, everywhere. That is
It's
happening everywhere.
dude.
I've
Like,
talked to enough educators that it's
it's
everywhere.
happening everywhere. What's happening in the hallways is happening everywhere. You know,
Absolutely.
and I mean, let's be honest. Drugs are a problem, dude. That's what I'm talking about. There's
So I don't. I apologize. I
Go for
was just going back. I'm glad you said problems. Is some of the problems we see is the 90 students, what's going on in the hallways. That's another problem. That's another factor that some kids don't continue playing.
yeah,
They get into stuff they shouldn't get into.
and that goes back to me.
They get a car.
That's pride.
Huh?
That's pride. That's, to me, that's pride. I had to do the right thing for me to be on that football field. If I'm over here messing around, getting into fights, doing stupid shit that I shouldn't be doing, then I don't belong in the football field.
That the lack
And
of
what
pride of being part of the team.
Yeah. To me, it all comes
Because
down
you're
to
going to do
that.
whatever it takes to play and to be on the team.
Yes. Because that also, and see, and this is where you go another step back, and we're going back to this conversation. You take a step back, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but I say it starts with a student athlete, right? And then you take it a step further, it starts at home. Dude, my dad would not let me play football if I brought anything home lower than a B.
Interesting. I think I'm going to be the same way with my kids. You want to be in extracurricular activities, whatever it is you pick. I don't want less than 90s because I didn't bring home less than 90s. They have their socioeconomic status for my kids is a lot better. They're exposed to a lot more things. Don't give me an 85. Don't come on with an 85 when you're in high school.
Unless they're taking college dual enrollment, dude. Come on, man. Be nice.
What? Say that again?
I said, unless they're taking college dual enrollment, man, be nice.
Well, they will be taking college dual enrollment courses. They should. I need to save some money.
But you still expect that A.
Huh? Yeah, absolutely.
So I was an A student up until I started taking Mr. Stecker's classes and Ms. Navarro's classes. I brought home 1B, and my dad said, "Holy shit!" But
you had Ms. Navarro. I had Ms. Navarro.
But my dad made an
great
exception.
Teacher. Great teacher.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I love being in her class.
Me too.
Shout out to Ms. Navarro if you ever watch this show. Great teacher.
I sucked at writing, but that's why I got my B. Right
here
and there. But see, and I told my dad I had to. It's a college class. English was not my first language. So I told my dad, I'm struggling. He goes, okay, nothing lower than a B. And so I didn't bring home anything lower than a B. But prior to that, it wasn't A. But I mean, shit, dude. Ms. Navarro was a tough teacher, dude. It wasn't easy to take that class.
So now we're going to grades and B's. Is there a way? Because one of the problems is students aren't passing. From your experience, is it because they're not trying? Or how do we solve the issue of you can't tell me you can't get a 70, 75 in your class?
And on your own. Because the truth of the matter is we're not teaching super high level shit in the classroom the way we should be so that they don't get at least a C. There are some times, dude, that I would say, this is a little tough for my students. I would curve the test a little bit because I knew that it was a little bit difficult based on what I was gauging in the classroom from them. I would say, man, this is quote unquote hard for them. So I would curve the test and they would still not be able to produce a C. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Come on, man.
It's not rocket science. It's math. And if you're paying attention in the classroom, you're going to know what's going on. But you're not paying attention in the classroom. You are very stuck to your device. And that's the other one, dude, too. Somebody commented earlier today. I think it was
on the phones.
Yeah, they're always on the phones. They're always on their phone. And cool. Here's the another little topic to talk about. We as educators have adapted to them. Man, we can't get them off their phones. So what do, Rudy? We start doing activities that involves them using their phone, such as Kahoot, such as Pear Deck, So
Mhm.
other little activities that involves them using their phones so that they can say, "Hey, we're using our phones for educational purposes." But I have a quote from somebody, good mentor. This was it. We should not let them set the expectation. They should meet our expectation. But for whatever reason, that's not happening, either in football or in the student athlete mind. Because I'm going. For me, it's all about the student athlete, because that's really the moral of this whole podcast is we're talking about the student athlete, and that student athlete is how do you produce in the football field? Well, you got to produce by having pride. You have to have pride to be able to perform. You know, to have the ability to perform. You got to take pride in what you're doing to be on the football field.
Absolutely.
So
Part of that pride will make you get the good grades.
so you got so what I'm trying to say is, instead of me as an educator catering to the student athlete or to the
Right.
student in general, it should be the other way. The student athlete should meet my expectation as an educator and as a football coach or as a powerlifting coach or as a basketball coach, and they have to meet my expectation. But I think right now what's happening as educators is we're meeting them. We're meeting
There was a research or a school that did away with the phones, and sure enough, the students became humans again when it came to social interaction, talking and smiling and enjoying their what human nature is supposed to be is talk to each other.
Yeah,
I don't
dude.
forget what school it was, but they did that.
Well, I think we should not necessarily do something like that. I mean, that don't help solve the phone issue, man. To be honest with you, I tried collecting phones for a period of time. Like, hey, you need your calculator today, so turn your phone in instead of and grab the calculator. And for a while, it would work.
Okay.
For a while, it would work. That they would be phoneless for a little bit, and I can say that their level of education or their level of work ethic was better.
Right.
But
Right.
man, and I'm guilty of it too, dude. Like and I'm just going, and so for me, it just feels like a fidget spinner. Like I'm just
Bro, there's people driving and looking at their phone, man.
Yeah, well, you know
That's
what?
how bad it is, man.
Your little screen flipped here, but
Yeah, my phone died. It's my camera phone, so I'm gonna remove it from the podcast here.
I'm thinking,
And
dude.
darn it, I like that angle.
Yeah, so I'm thinking too that more than looking at the phone, I think what people are doing is, oh, I'm driving, and they're doing this just because it's like a fidget spinner, dude. Like, I think people have so
Their
much.
eyes are off the road, man. Their eyes are off the road.
I've seen people do that, but I've caught myself driving.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing this with my phone. It's like a fidget spinner. You know another thing that I do, dude? It's a fidget spinner. I literally do this while I'm driving. This is what I'm doing.
All right, let me give you one. Let me give you one because of the phone. And this goes for all the athletes watching. Hey, and this is where we're about to disagree a lot because we disagreed a lot earlier today. And I'm gonna make a comment, and I'm just gonna make the comment, and I'll give you my why later.
You can disagree.
Speed development, and this is why I believe freshman and sophomore football players, especially the secondary and the receivers, after football season, should transfer over to basketball class.
Okay.
They should none of this guy. I'm gonna lift weights in football. No, I need you to go to basketball. If I was a head coach, I'd be like, all my secondary and skill guys, you're going to basketball, athletic period. I need you to go learn how to move your body. I need you to learn how to move your body, and I need you to work on speed. And it's more important than weights.
No.
Oh, I know you were gonna say no. I knew that was coming.
No.
And then one of the coaches says, "Oh, lifting heavy ruins your speed," and he goes off on a tangent about faster tribers and stuff like that. So, give it to me. What do you got?
First of all, lifting heavy does not ruin your speed. Lifting heavy and not stretching, not working on your flexibility reduces your speed.
Agreed.
That's the key. Like I don't run anymore. I don't even stretch anymore. Ask me if I can run a 5.5. Ask me if I can run a 7 flat in a 40.
I'll be lucky. I can't.
Okay, I don't run anymore. I jog for a minute. Si dices que voy a correr. I don't run anymore. I'm too big. I'm too heavy. I'm too stocky. But when I was, in better shape at 245, 250, yeah, but I was stretching, dude. I would spend 30 to 45 minutes before I would work out. And then at the end of the workout, I would go in cardio and run. But I do not think that lifting heavy is going to diminish your speed. Lifting heavy and not stretching, not doing your dynamic exercises is going to reduce your speed.
So it's good, and I'm glad you said that, because then, the other coach, smart guy, very smart guy. I'm glad we have him in our district. He talks about, well, wait a minute. Now, yeah, you can lift, and yes, you can lift weights and stuff like that. But was that athlete, or the position we're talking about, is, did he lose his speed because he was lifting weights? Because that was a point that one coach was trying to make. Well, and kind of not, because then I fixed it after I evaluated, but I don't want to talk about that sport because I'll give it away who I was talking to. But it was more about, he lifted weights. He wasn't quick enough to play a certain spot. We had to move him to another spot. And I don't think it was about lifting weights, but that's what it sounded like. Mm-hmm. So then the other coach says, well, yeah, but if he was lifting weights, you don't lose speed as long as you still do the agility work, your conditioning work, your speed training work, that kind of stuff.
Now.
Go ahead, preach.
If I'm lifting heavy.
And then Adán Montalvo is always part. I'll tell you what, Adán Montalvo is one of the biggest examples they always use about sharing athletes. But we'll get into that later. Keep going.
So I don't think that lifting heavy is going to diminish your speed, especially if you're doing your dynamic stretches. But lifting heavy, and this is where it gets fun. Lots of factors. Lifting heavy will cause you to gain weight
because you're the muscle mass.
Because your goal is to put on some muscle mass.
Right.
So putting on muscle mass without working on your
agility, movement stuff.
Yeah, because you're gonna get heavier, or you're gonna get slower, maybe by a millisecond. You know what I mean?
Right. From a 4.5 to a 4.6, or a 4.51 to a 4.59.
4.5 to 4.6. That's not a big discrepancy. Or a 4.7. You're still fast.
Dollars in the NFL. What are you talking about? Those are millions of dollars in the NFL. But we're not talking about the NFL. We're talking about 956. Keep going.
But see that. So lifting heavy is not going to slow you down. It's how your body is affected is what's going to slow you down. If I'm over here lifting heavy and trying to gain 30, 40, 50 pounds, and yes, you are going to get slower. But I can weigh 180 pounds and still squat 600 pounds. That's doable. I mean, it's off the charts, right? But it's doable.
Right. It's an outlier. You're talking about an outlier, but it's an example.
But see, I know plenty of athletes that were big and lean and muscular and ran fast. Ran faster than the skinny guys. So don't come over here.
Which does happen.
Yeah. So it's not.
But they're fast like that because of genetics. They're fast like that because of genetics.
Sure, but we're not talking about genetics right now. We're talking about same genetics.
Speed. Yeah, right. Speed versus
weight.
Person
A is not lifting heavy, and he's got his speed. You got person B who's lifting heavy, but is going to maintain his speed, because I can lift heavy as long as I don't really alter my body physique. I should be fine. Now, if I'm altering my body physique, that's different. If I'm putting 40, 50 pounds of muscle, that's different.
I was reading. What was I? I was reading actually. This one I was reading it, where it was when you are lifting and you're gaining weight, muscle mass. Make sure that because of your legs and the way you're going to be carrying for speed, they got to be stronger than the weight they got to be stronger to sustain the weight you gained.
Yes. But also, and that's when this was beyond me, but I had a friend in college, great athlete, Olympic runner.
Nice.
His shoulders were massive, dude.
Say that
massive. Again? His shoulders were massive.
Oh, okay.
Like, yes, he had massive legs, nice, athletic, speed legs, but his shoulders. I asked him, "What shouldn't it, should you not have big shoulders?" He goes, "No, I need my shoulders because when I'm running, I'm working right here." And
Mm.
so there was a lot of emphasis on him working his shoulders, and his shoulders were massive, dude.
Mm.
Like he was well tapered.
Now
And
watch this.
go
Keep
ahead.
going. Sorry.
And so that's the one question I asked him. I go, should your shoulders not be as big as they are?
Mm.
And the guy was an Olympic runner.
Nice. So when I make that comment about speed and movement should be developed more than weights, or weights are not as important, and I get a lot of pushback from the weightlifting guys, which I get.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where the phone comes into this discussion. And here's why I believe this. The kids from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s still played outside.
Yes.
They still played outside. So they learned to move their body to where the newer generation of kids were getting that play on the Switch, that play on the Xbox, all these, whatever, phone, screen time, phone, tablet. They're not moving as much.
Right.
And I personally believe that there's enough evidence that we don't have these kids moving the same way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to not take weights out of the equation, but we need to focus on, while we're lifting weights and as they're getting stronger, we need to focus on making sure that those kids that are on screen time so much growing up, if they can't move correctly,
Mm-hmm.
fast enough, quick enough, it doesn't matter how strong you are on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't move first. So my focus is 7th, 8th, and 9th. Because of what's happening, we as a program, any program, needs to be focused. And this is not including the kids that go and play outside after school activities, because some coaches say that's the number one problem is the extracurriculars during elementary and different leagues, is the kids that are on so much screen time. We need to teach them how to move and be quick and fast first, and put weights to the back burner. Instead of doing three times a week of weights, do it once a week while we're focusing on them being quick and fast the other 4 days out of the week. Yeah, I knew you'd cringe. I knew you'd give me that pushback.
I don't think 3 days is enough. And you're over here talking about taking 1 day out. But see, here's
I'm talking about lifting only once a week.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant. But
okay,
I don't think 3 days is enough to lift one. Okay, I think what we do in the weight room, at least at the high school level, we try our very best to get enough time to do enough workouts in, because strength is linear, dude. Strength is not exponential. Strength is not parabolic. Strength is a linear thing. Yes, right. At the very beginning, when you're a first-time lifter, that you're learning how to move your body, but see, you're learning to move your body via weightlifting as well, because weightlifting should not just be static.
Okay.
Weightlifting is not static. Weightlifting is movement. If I'm squatting, I have to get into an athletic position. I have to get into an athletic position multiple times, move past the athletic position, and back up with power and force. So how
often did you tackle somebody from the squat position? Never.
But you're moving through the athletic position.
So that was an argument on one of the Instagrams I was watching. Is, don't get me wrong, you still teach the squat, but you also got to lift from the quarter squat. And some coaches don't like the quarter squat.
So I coach the quarter squat for powerlifting,
which you're supposed to. But then we still have some who are like, no, go all the way down to your butt gets down. It's like, hold on, man. There's a time and place for the quarter squat. I mean, you talk to basketball players, no basketball player squats all the way down to go jump.
But you have power.
You squat, but not that low. It's a quarter squat. Y vámonos para arriba. Maybe a 30%.
The idea is that you're moving through the athletic position. You're building.
Right. My point right now for that is make sure that you also teach the quarter squat.
Yeah, but see the time and the place. But the
Right,
idea of the squat, right, is that you're moving through the athletic position.
right.
Okay, the
And you
athletic
got to teach the body to move like that. Yes.
so your athletic position is a starting point, you know, but to move through it is a different
Mm,
story.
mm,
And even when you're bench pressing, you don't just bench press with just your chest. You bench press from your feet.
mm.
If your feet are not firmly planted on the ground, you're not going to have as much power. Now, granted, some people say, "Oh, coach, because I bench press better with tippy toe." That's not necessarily true. You generate more power when your foot is planted flat on the floor.
Interesting.
Okay, for the bench press.
Right.
Okay, and even when you squat, if you're on the balls of your feet or you're on the heels of your feet, you're gonna tip forward, you're gonna tip back. So you want
Mm.
to have you're gonna want to have a flat, you know, a good man, what's the word? A good I don't know what
Stance, stability.
yeah, a good foot position. Okay,
Okay.
if your foot position is not good, that power that you gain from the ground, because that's what it does. You generate this power. When I'm gonna tackle somebody, I'm starting from the athletic position, yes, but I'm moving my power. I'm moving my power through the
Yeah.
squat. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm generating force through the squat. At least that's the way I see it. Okay, and I'm not a man. I wanted to get my CSCS or my CSCCA, but I had to take those classes and to be able to get that certification. That was another level. But somebody that might be able to give you more information on this is Jacob Howell. He did an internship and he's CSCCA certified. And he interned under Coach Jeff Madden at the University of Texas, and obviously Coach Madden would be able to tell you more, give you more information about this.
See here. So here you mentioned UT, and see a lot of the argument is. So then I talked to the one of the comments I made today in that roundtable was every guest I've had here that played college ball, including yourself, is one of the differences from high school to collegiate was all the weights that you guys lift for
Yeah,
basketball, soccer, football. It's just you're lifting weights. But here's the kicker, or here's what we got to take into consideration about the argument I'm making is when you get to college, now you're talking about athletes that
hmm
know how to move, that are fast, that are quick.
but
So now it's like now get strong because you can move your body already.
but to your point, it's actually to your point,
I don't want people to think that I'm saying don't lift weights. I'm not saying people
right?
don't lift weights. But when we're
To
getting
to your
kids that have been on the switch, that have been on the tablet, that are most of the day on their phones, hey, we have to we have to counter what they're lacking, and they
Mhm.
are lacking weights. But I think movement and speed and quickness is more important than being big and strong in seventh, eighth, and ninth. Now, once you're strong,
Right.
once you're fast, quick, and you can coordinate your body correctly, ahora sí mete el fierro.
But to
Then
your
now we
point,
can live.
Coach Mendez, is the
Go ahead, go ahead.
a
I'm not
big
saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's my philosophy from what I'm seeing.
right. To your point, because there is some truth to what you're saying, obviously, right? So to your point, when you get to these, you're never gonna see LeBron James squat 600 pounds.
He's in a squad 800. Okay.
I'm bet he's barely gonna squat 135. But you're never gonna see these athletes squat 800 pounds or 600 pounds. Yes, they're strong, but you're never gonna see them squat
Mm,
that kind of weight. There's no
right.
point. There's no need for
Mm.
that, in their sport. So to your point,
We talked about that sport specific lifting, but keep going.
to, to your point, sports specific lifting. Okay, there is to some degree truth in that.
Mm.
But I think at the high school level, what you just said right now about you got to teach them the movements. Your basic fundamental lifts are your big three: squat, bench, power clean, and include your big four, your deadlift.
Oh, the
Those,
best.
those are your main
Yeah, those main four.
main three or four. And I would go as far as the only reason I talk about deadlift is because I was a powerlifting coach. But
with those three, you're good.
With your bench, your squat, your power clean, those are your big three. I think those are your fundamentals. Learn how to squat. You learn how to get into the athletic position. You can hold your athletic position. Learn how to bench press. You can push people around. Learn to power clean. You have movement. You have explosion. So those are your big three. Now, as a football coach, as a powerlifting coach, as a lifter myself, you start to mess around and start to experiment to build different things into the football athlete, the athlete person. But I'm of the belief that we should have 2 athletic periods. The problem is that it's very hard. We should have a period where you're working on strength and conditioning in general.
Strength and conditioning, okay.
Strength, everybody does the big three, and not just the big three. Just the big three is just like the fundamentals.
Right. In general, you're lifting. You're a period to lift weights.
Your fundamentals of it all.
You're gonna go work out.
Every athlete should know how to do those 3 movements minimum, and then you have your sport specific movements. But every athlete also needs to do some conditioning. So I am of the belief, but we just don't do it because there's no way we can in our areas or in
UIL. Is that a UIL thing that you can only have 1 athletic period per day?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it is. You're only allowed one P program.
They should allow more. They should allow more because 45 minutes is not enough. 45 minutes is not enough.
45 minutes. There's after school and before school.
Huh?
There's after school and before school. That's why there's after school and before school.
Yeah, you can do that. I did that. But okay.
But I get to your point though. I do. So your point is you got to lift weights. Plus, you got to do the conditioning and movement stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then you do your sport specific stuff. Like I know pitchers, dude. Pitchers don't need to be squatting 1,000 pounds,
but they still got to squat.
They still got to squat because it produces power, dude. Like it really produces.
I know that.
To the ground.
I know that. Do those kids know that?
Any athlete has to know that you generate force from the ground.
Hey, you know what? What I need to work on is generating force with my legs for my golf swing. I'll tell you what. This is Emmanuel Lopez putting this up. Shout out to Emmanuel Lopez. But you're right, though. Do kids know the importance of that power, even though they're using their arm?
Anytime I coached anybody, I always told, hey, you need to squat, bench, and power clean, deadlift. Any movement you do starts from the ground. I always emphasize that. Because people always have, hey, how are you so strong in your bench press? Well, because I have my feet flat on the ground. I generate my force from the ground. And there's 3 points that are supposed to be touching the bench. 4 if you include your head. Your feet, your butt, and the top of your back.
Yeah.
So only 3 things that are touching the bench.
The middle of the back, that middle of the back.
So you're building a pivot. I don't know what the word is, but those are your 3 things that are really supposed to be touching the ground or the bottom, and then maybe your head. I'm the believer that your head should be, back here. I've seen people say, no, you can lift your head. In powerlifting, you can't lift your head. Your head has to be flat on the ground. You lift your head like that. At least that was the rule before I left. But
so you're with me, and I think we agree. Now, on how the programming and the scheduling of lifting weights, and now we're talking about high school because I still believe weights should not be that important now, only in this generation, only because of the screen time and the lack of movement. Growing up, I don't want everybody to come at me that only because of what's going on in society right now.
Let me help you.
Go.
And I am with you. To a degree,
right. To a certain extent,
the cycles that we do in high school. I don't mean steroids. I mean cycles, right? The micro cycles or the macro cycles. The way we live, your cycles.
Yes, right. What are yours? 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks?
Depends on the situation.
Okay.
I try to stay to a 4-week cycle. You go every 4 weeks, and I'm not talking about 4 weeks you max out. No, it's a 12-week macro cycle 13
Okay.
sometimes, and we
Right.
break those into 4. You
I
have
got you.
your mesocycles, and then we have weeklies. So those are your microcycles, right? So I'm with a big belief that you have a 12 before you max out again. You should have gone 12 weeks working out with certain weights.
Right.
When you say weight should not be that important in elementary and in middle school,
Middle
I
school.
agree to this degree. This is what
Hey,
I would say.
remember, only because of what's going on with the phone stuff
But listen, because we're
and
not on
lack
the
of
same page
movement.
just yet. We're not on the same
Keep
page just
going.
yet.
All right.
You don't need the cycles that I'm using with my football players and my power lifters and my sports over here. My 12-week cycles that I'm
I
using
got you.
over here at the high school. What you guys just need is basics: 4 sets of 8, 4 sets of 12, 3 sets of 15.
Right. Which is what I did when we were there. Yeah.
Nothing heavy. Now, if you are trying to get stronger, if you're of that mentality that I need to get that kid stronger, then yes, maybe you can do a 12-week cycle from time to time. But again, it's a 12-week cycle. Okay, it's a 12-week cycle, maybe a 13-week cycle, so you can even it out throughout the year. 13 times 4 gets really close to 52, right?
And you're talking about lifting every day with that cycle, or 3 or 4 times a week?
No, three times at minimum. Minimum three times.
Minimum.
But I know we don't have the time for that. So if you're going to use these cycles at the middle schools, if that's going to be your philosophy for strength and conditioning, yes, do it. But in my opinion, if you want to eliminate that, I don't think it's so important to live there, then fine. But at least have them live 3 days out of the week, okay, at 4 sets of 8, 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 12, or 3 sets of 15, 3 sets of 12, and take it that far. But work on your fundamentals, work on your technique, work on your squatting. Make sure you're squatting down low.
And I 100% agree with that. 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Now here's where it gets interesting. If I keep doing the same thing and I keep getting the same lack of results, why do I keep doing it the same way?
Wait. Who's doing the same thing? What?
3 times a week, lifting. 3 times. And see, the equation hasn't changed.
What do you do? Explain to me.
Now, junior high. What you're talking about? Junior high. You're saying live 3 times a week. I 100% disagree with you, only because it has not worked in the past.
You're not doing it right.
Years. But there are a lot of factors which I make that comment. But there's so many other factors to take into consideration. But again, forget the fact that it hasn't worked in the past however many years, decade. My main point is because of the lack of movement at home, kids don't play outside the way they used to.
Right.
I think we need to focus more on lifting weights, showing them, like you said, 4 sets of 8, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong. You're right. I'm right. You're wrong. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just, if you're the AC at that school, you're going to do it a certain way. I'm the AC at this school. I'm going to do it a certain way. There's the consent. Like I said, the consensus is still hasn't been solved.
So let me tell you what the solution to all that is. Because there is.
Go ahead. Because that's what you're here. Give us solutions.
Yeah. Consistency. If you can be consistent with your program, whatever your program is, you're going to see results. That's the solution. Consistency. So take that with a grain of salt. Because
I get it. I get it. Which you're fair point, valid point.
Consistency. If you're going to live one time a week, if you're lifting one time a week, if you're going to live one time a week, then be consistent about it 52 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
And I know we don't get 52 weeks.
I agree. They're going to learn how to lift. In my philosophy, it's like, for example, let me give you an example. Who was it? I was talking to somebody, but if you run, you were a football player. I mean, what position did you play, Coach?
High school O-line and
high school.
College, I played D-line.
Okay. The example was this. You're a defensive end or you're a 2 technique. Everybody's running the spread nowadays. Jet sweep, toss, quick screens. How often does a defensive okay, it's 2-4, a 4 technique tackle those guys running their 4-6s? I don't know, but is it a lot or a little?
Repeat the question.
You're a 4 technique. We're running a
Four
jet
tech.
sweep, we're running a toss, we're running a quick screen.
Okay.
You run a, I don't know, not you necessarily, but just the position itself, 5'2", 4'9". And remember, we're not talking about elite athletes in college that run their 4.7s,
Right.
4.8s that are playing that position. We're talking about the kids that play this position here that usually run in the 5s, correct?
Okay.
How often are they going to tackle the guy running the 4.6?
If they're in a 4 take, not very often.
So we need how often the linebacker?
But see, here's the thing. Why is that guy? You know, I'm
My point is of that example is speed is the name of the game, in my personal view. Now, you still got to be strong, but you got to be faster first.
let's just clarify something real quickly.
Go ahead. I'm just making comments.
No,
just to pick your brain. Pick your brain.
When we talk about strength, people think that we're talking about bulk.
Dude, 100%. I like that. Yes, that's a common misconception.
You can be 180 pounds and squat, 400 pounds. You can be 180 pounds and bench press.
Man, that's a great point.
So speed. Strength doesn't equivalent to bulk. That's a clarification that I would like.
Love that.
Okay,
love that. Great point.
And that's why going back to lifting weights, you can lift heavy and you're not gonna bulk. You bulk when you eat. You bulk when you eat. So coming back to this whole 4 tech thing, 2 tech thing,
linebackers,
but depending on your coaching philosophy, because there are some coaching philosophies where a twofer is a good thing.
A what?
A twofer. So a twofer is this: when a defensive lineman takes on a double team.
Oh, great point. You're right.
That's a good thing.
You're right.
So in that particular case, it's really rare that you're going to see this defensive lineman make the sack. Now, the defensive lineman has to be.
You're talking about his role is we need 2 guys you need to occupy 2 guys.
Yeah. So that's one philosophy. Now, if the philosophy is to stunt out of the 4 tech, then we're going. We're going. But see,
I got you.
And that would be the idea, in my opinion, out of a 2 tech or for a straight 2 or a straight 4. You're stunting left or right. Let's go.
Right.
You're not really gonna. You're not blocking. You're not gonna hit the guy in front of you. But so it depends on what your philosophy is. Because as a defensive lineman, a twofer was a good thing. You take on 2 people, the linebacker makes the play.
Absolutely, yeah. You know who I learned that from? I don't know if Mark Gonzalez. I learned that. Great coach, great mind. I learned a lot from him when I was over there at Husky Feeder School.
Yeah, man. There's so it depends on your philosophy, dude. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. What is your philosophy?
We got roles. There's jobs. There's rules. There's rules to the game. Well, hey, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
I think we've dissected enough where and I'm glad you said that. I think that the summary of this whole weight speed is lifting weights does not mean bulk. It's being strong.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be big, but you can still be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Sharing athletes.
Who's sharing?
What is it an issue?
Who's sharing?
So today I made this comment.
Okay.
And this is my philosophy. After football season, if a kid wants to play any other sport, whether he's a freshman, sophomore, junior, you're going that way for the athletic period.
No.
I'm way off.
I mean, that's your philosophy, but my philosophy is no.
Okay. And which is 99%, 98, 95% of the coaches. Why?
Goes back to your whole sport specific thing. In baseball period, in basketball period, in bowling period, I'm coaching what I need to coach. So they're not really working on the whole strength aspect of it. They're working on yes, they're lifting weights, they're sport specific weights, but they're not working on getting strong. I'm a believer that if I can squat sufficiently
Mm.
well, have proper technique, I can throw. I mean, I'm already pitching good. I just believe that I'm gonna be pitching better if I can squat, if I can generate force from the floor. I'm the believer that if I need to jump for any sport, I'm of the believer that if I can squat well enough, if I can squat good, if I can generate force from the ground, I'm going to jump higher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm of the believer that if I can bench press more, I can screen somebody better.
Yeah.
But that also comes with
I see what you're saying.
I'm of the believer that weights and obviously movement. I'm of the believer of that weights builds that extra force in your movement. So when you're saying, "Hey, football player, Coach Mendez, you started off the year with football, but yeah, once football season's over, when are you gonna work on your strength, your fundamental strength? Because there's no other sport working on that. Maybe there is now today, but the truth of the matter is, how many sports are actually working on your fundamental strength? They're not, because over here my mentality is my pitcher has to do rubber band exercises. So he can work.
Yes. Yeah,
He can
you're
work.
absolutely right. Yes.
So when is he gonna bench press?
He's got to take cuts. He's got to get his throws.
So though all this is important, yes, but I also believe that the fundamentals of strength are important to further strengthen your abilities in the other sports. That's my belief.
I agree. It's a good belief, and I agree with it, because one of the main issues, and see, here's the main issue, because weights are important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here saying don't lift weights, but there's certain factors that are going on with kids that we need to adjust on when we lift or concentrate more on weights. I had a buddy of mine, because I think I think it was when I had Adam Montalvo on the show, and I had a buddy of mine from Uvalde, and then he went to co-coach in San Antonio at a good program. Was it Leon Van? No, I don't know. Doesn't matter where he was. I said, hey, same question I asked you. Hey, we're gonna share an athlete, maybe 3 athletes. Football, go to basketball. Basketball, go to track. What's up? He goes, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. We gotta lift weights. I was like, okay, let me ask you this, which I get. You have to lift weights. It'd be nice if the student athlete were to say, hey, if we're practicing in the morning plus the athletic period basketball, I'm going to go lift weights after school. Or we have athletic period, we have after school practice, I'm going to lift weights before school. That's the perfect scenario, right? Would you agree with that?
Well,
kind of, sort of.
Because to piggyback off of that idea, when we talked about not having enough students in the classroom, I mean in the football in the programs,
right?
So if I have 45 students in the period, okay, the idea is, okay, we're not just going to build strength, we're not just going to work on our conditioning, we're also going to build our chemistry.
Great point. It was brought up today about what you do to a program. Yes,
we're gonna build our chemistry. Now, if I have
brotherhood, that camaraderie.
If I have that one guy that missed out on that workout, what's up with that guy? Do I want him back in my football program as a student, as an athlete? Do I want him back? I understand he's playing basketball, but I want to build my chemistry with that guy. So there's chemistry to be worked on as well. So now we go back to that issue. Okay, I have 45 students, athletes in my period. If one is gone, that's fine. But if there's 5, 6, 7 of your guys that are gone because they went to go play baseball or start to work on their second sport, baseball or basketball or bowling or golfing, the chemistry is not there. So I go back to the fact that we don't have enough periods. They should give us 2 periods. They should give us a strength and condition period. They should give us a football period. They should give us a basketball period. They should give us 2 periods. That's not going to happen. That's a dream world. Dream.
That's a UIL. That's the whole UIL situation.
Yeah, but I do go back to that because I need my guys to build chemistry in the same way that the basketball coaches need them to build chemistry too.
Right.
So now I go back to this other philosophy. Bring back everybody. Let all the sports have the same athletic period. See, now we don't have space. If all the
I see what
sports
you're saying.
have all the sport, all because now I can build chemistry with not just the football kids, but the
They all work out together.
everybody works out together. Everybody works on the fundamentals together.
No, because
Again,
you're gonna talk to the basketball coach. He's worried about basketball skills. You're talking to the baseball coach. He's worried about baseball skills. You're talking to the soccer coach. He's worried about soccer skills. I don't want to work out with it.
Right, but you work your
speaking for people.
fundamentals, and then in the second period, you work on your sport specific. Again, my dream world, right? So
now here's what you say. Like, do I want that guy back? And one of the biggest examples that's being used out there when we converse about this area was the Adan Montalvo. The Adan Montalvo quarterback.
right.
I mean, he left to basketball class, then he left to track, and then he would lift weights and he was a starting quarterback again.
Okay, so let me back up a
You're
little
not
bit.
gonna take. You're telling me Adan Montalvo leaves. You're not gonna take him back the next year.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. Because what I meant to say is,
but you're talking about. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
What I meant to say is, and I actually just lost my train of thought was, go ahead.
While it comes back. So my thing is, I do get that point, but when you have a kid, good kid, respectful kid, hardworking at his sports, he gives you everything he's got during the football season. He's a good kid, good asset to the basketball program or soccer program, good asset to the track program, baseball program, whatever it is. Summer comes around, he goes to live with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they follow that schedule, back to the guy from Uvalde and the guy from San Antonio, I said, if they follow that schedule and in the summer they're back in the weight room for the 2.5 months, are they ready and strong enough for football season? He goes, if they follow that schedule and if they get back in the weight room, it works. He goes, but what you have to understand, Rudy, he goes, the biggest issue we see, and this is in Uvalde and San Antonio, he goes, kids don't lift on their own.
Yeah.
Is that one of the main issues?
That is another issue. That is another issue. That has to come again. That comes from pride. That comes from pride. But I remember what I was going to say, Coach Mendez.
Go ahead.
I love. This is what I need to clarify. I love the multi athlete. I have nothing against. I want my athlete to do football, of course. I want my
year round in sports. Year round in sports.
Yes, I want my kid to go do wrestling. I want my kid to go do powerlifting. I want my kid to go do basketball. I want him to be a multi-athlete athlete.
Hey, I'll tell you what, though. I used to work with Efrain Rodriguez, great wrestling coach. Man, that guy loves wrestling, man. You get to start on wrestling. No, hombre, se ven un viaje. Hey, smart guy. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
So I love the multi-athlete. I just couldn't remember. So my clarification is this: go do your other sports, but keep your football period. Go do your other sports, but keep your basketball period. Go do your other sports, but keep your bowling period. We didn't even have bowling in La Joya. I've been saying that. I didn't even catch that shit.
Hey, people know what you mean. People know what you mean.
No, but I was just seeing if people catch that shit. No, but that's what I'm saying.
Your main sport, keep it. So your main sport, your number one, keep it.
That athletic period.
Keep your number one.
Yes. Let those people build that chemistry. Okay. Be a multi-sport athlete. But if I'm a football first and then basketball second or basketball third or fourth or wrestling second or third, let me keep football period. And then after school, I'll join you in the practices. Now, again, this gets very hard. Why? Because 45 minutes is not enough time. So therefore, they do coaching in the afternoon. And so they miss whatever they missed out in the 45 minutes that they were had in the athletic period. But to my clarification, I am of the multi-athlete.
Right.
I'm a multi-sport athlete. Okay. I love that. That's an essential. But I also believe that if football is your main sport, if you think maybe you have a future in football, or if you think you have a future in basketball, or if you think you have a future in, keep those as, in my opinion, your primary period. And then, you know, after, in the afternoon or in the morning or whenever they have practices, go to those practices.
Man, I'll tell you what. My son's second grader. My son's in second grade, and he's gonna be quick. He should be decently quick. His genetics or whatever, and he does basketball because I'm developing the movement, lateral movement, and through fantasy football. And every Sunday there's football on TV here at my house. Hey, Dad, let's go throw out passes. This is okay. Let's go throw out passes. So I throw the ball to him. He quarterbacks. So I run my routes. He goes, here we go. Said, all right. Put up Dallas Cowboy Dak Prescott. and he's running routes. And, I've been playing with him for the past 3-4 weeks. Oh, yeah. And then the other day we're here in the kitchen. I don't know what I'm talking about, soccer, and I don't know what I'm saying. He goes, Dad, I'm going to be a football player. I'm like, okay. But when he said that, my mind went off on, okay, you're going to be a football player. And because I've had you in soccer for so long, you're probably going to have to go. You're going to enjoy it and you're going to be good at it. So you're going to go play soccer. So I'm thinking, okay, now how are we going to balance football practice, speed training, weightlifting? And you're going to make sure, I got to make sure he does all 3 to 4 things per day.
Mm.
And we go back to, I don't think a lot of kids understand that it's a 4-hour commitment, not 45 minutes that you talk about during the athletic period.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's another problem that we have, that kids need to understand it's a 4-hour solution.
Yeah.
Because they still got to lift weights and they still got to move and do everything else that they have.
There's a lot of aspects to being an athlete, man. So
what do you tell? Go ahead.
So there's another little side philosophy here.
Go ahead. And this is from your experience, everything you saw.
This is dream world society, dream world. there's no reason for us to be teaching 8 hours a day.
Oh no, you're about to open a can of worms, man. Come on, man. We're talking about athlete. Come on, man.
No, but see, this is the point that I want to try and make.
Homeschool. People that get homeschooled, they just do 2 hours a day,
and then they have time to go work on other sports.
Dude, I just learned that 2 weeks ago. There's this little girl that gets homeschooled 2 hours, and that's it.
And she has time to go work on her gymnastics. She has time to go work
Yes.
I think, again, UIL doesn't allow it.
They don't.
We don't need to have these kids in the classroom 8 hours a day. Dude, you have them for fucking 15 minutes in one period. Lucky if you get them for 30. Lucky if you get them for 30. So what are we doing? We want to work on our football stuff. We want to go work on our basketball stuff. So again, dream world. There's got to be some reform. There's got to be some reform in education. There's got to be some reform.
Hey, listen to Vivek Ramaswamy, man. He's talking about changing the whole education system, man.
There's got to be
voting for Vivek. I'm voting for Vivek. But now we're getting into politics, national politics, and reform and all these things.
I think
dream world
politics.
We're in dream world right now.
But I'm in dream world, and I think I honestly, where we are today in society, if you want to be able to be effective as a teacher, as an educator, I don't think having them in the classroom for 55 minutes, at least at the high school, because we have them for 55 minutes a period, I don't think that's beneficial anymore. In and out, let's go. And then with the speed of information, the access. And maybe we can work on something else. Those 4 hours, maybe they can give us 2 hours of athletics. I don't know. I don't know. Dream world, right? But so we've dissected education. We've dissected weight, speed, all this stuff. But the main reason you're here, all your experiences, we talk about parenting, and we didn't even dive that much into the whole parenting issue. We just know that some things are not valid coming from certain situations. Right.
Okay. I'm the athletic director. Coach Luciano Martinez, you're my new head coach.
For what?
You're the new head football coach.
Okay, I'm the new head football.
Give me how you're going to get us to the W's year in, year out.
You want my honest answer?
Oh, give me the whole show. That's why you're here.
The
'Cause you
way
can
I-
speak freely. No one's gonna fire you from Remax.
Hey, John, if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
So
So give me the solution.
I'm
give
of
me
the
a 2
mentality
weeks,
I already
4
told
weeks
you.
here. Well, what are we doing?
I'm
How
of the
are we?
mentality-
What are you gonna do to make sure you come in and win? What are you changing? Give me at least 10. Vámonos.
I at least
Ya me
10.
toqué a dormir. I
I'll-
got a golf session. I got a tea time.
Hey, bro,
I got a tea time at McKinley Country Club tomorrow morning.
Yo
I
le
got
dije-
you for another 30 minutes. Let's go.
Yo le dije a mi wife, hey, this is gonna only take an hour. Me estamos 2.5 hours,
Hey,
dude.
When coaches start talking, it doesn't take an hour, bro.
I mean, I've never thought about what I would do necessarily. Like if I was in an interview for a head coaching position, I wouldn't know what to say.
Well, there's no
Well,
correct answer. There's no interview here. It's just
But
from what
no,
you've seen, what would you do and change some of the things, or
You-
what would you do
what
differently, or
I would do that's legal. You said
what's-
what?
Yeah, yeah. Well, más o menos, más o menos,
I
or
would-
even a little trick of Dream World. Ándale.
Trick or Dream World. I would bring back the. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm a Coach Carter. Coach Carter,
Tough,
to me, that's
strict,
strict,
tough and strict.
tough. Grades, academics,
Mm.
pride. For me,
You miss practice. You're not playing.
see, that's where it gets fun. You go back to the whole number situation.
Mm.
Because I had you know what, and I'm glad you brought this up. I had a comment about this. You know, if my 1 out of 3 players isn't passing his classes, what's gonna happen?
Pues, yeah.
And now I don't have a D line if I'm running a stack, right? So I have to bring somebody up, move somebody around. So again, numbers is a game, and we have to work on that. But that's another issue that I don't really want to talk about. But
Oh, I got the I can solve the problem of numbers. That's an easy one.
well, we don't have the numbers you're sending.
Well, there's not 24 Rudy Mendez's at the elementary level.
No, but so yeah, I would Coach Carter this shit. You know, tough, strict, academics, pride, and for me, it would be just pride. Have pride in what you do, on and off the field. Be the person that has integrity. The person that does the right thing when nobody's looking. Okay, you know.
So you're talking about you're teaching this to you're talking about the students.
Talking to them about what it is, what these things are. What is pride? Pride is you doing something to get you to what you want to do. So I guess I don't know how to explain pride, to be honest with you. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, but if I'm gonna be proud of the work that I put into something so that I can be on the football field. So that's my number one. I'm gonna teach pride. I'm gonna teach integrity. Okay. And strict and tough and adversity. Learn how to face these things, because the truth of the matter is, in real life, shit's not easy. In real life, shit is tough. And we need to teach and prepare these men, women, that life is not going to be easy.
Well, adults know that. Parents know that.
I don't know.
I mean, I give my kids tough love, but there's love. Sometimes they cry and they don't like it, but pues, they're going to be ready for the world.
Yeah. Their parents don't know that shit. For whatever reason, they don't know that shit. Adults, maybe. But it's because they take it for granted, dude. That, like I was just telling you earlier, you know, I took the whole thought, the school of thought of adversity. I took it for granted. You know, for the last 2 or 3 years, I hadn't, you know, struggled with XYZ situation, and all of a sudden, I find myself struggling. And oh well, shit. By the way, football taught me how to handle this shit. You know, or sports did, not necessarily football, because sports teach you how to deal with adversity.
It really does. It really does.
Yes.
So you're talking about we need to be a little bit more strict. Coach Carter, the grades. When it comes to the whole, but see, that's the thing though. But see, here's the thing though. So you talk about the numbers game, But if they're all getting the grades and they're all passing, you don't have a number situation anymore,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
I mean, that's what we're thinking. So you coach Carter it for the grades. You're strict. You talked earlier about we're too soft. How do you deal? And this goes back to like the very beginning of our show is how do you deal when you have a parent meeting at the beginning of the year and you have to say sometimes your kid is not going to play the whole game?
I haven't dealt with that just yet. I don't know how I would deal with that.
Can parents take that?
That's the thing. I'll be honest with you. My dad took that. My mom had to take it. But my dad told me too.
There was games I didn't play. A few of them where I didn't play at my 1 year of varsity, 12th grade. I only played 1 year varsity, and there was like a few games I'm like, wait, no jugué. O
Junior
juegue
year.
poquito.
Junior
Y ni
year,
modo.
junior
And that
year,
was it. Next game.
Junior year, I didn't play. My dad was at the games, and he would tell me, "Oh, you guys are not very good." When I started, he goes, "You're not blocking right. You're not doing your job." So my dad would have taken that shit. He would have told me, "See, if the coach is not playing you, it's because you're not very good." So
Right.
my dad was honest with that situation. And I think more parents need to be honest with that situation because if they want a program to succeed,
Say that one more time, please. What was it?
parents need to be honest with that situation.
No. Your dad told you what?
That I
You're
wasn't
not
very
playing
good.
because you're not very good.
Yeah. I'm not playing because you're not very good. And I think parents need to understand that and be honest with themselves. Because
That's a valid. It is. You hit the.
Coach Mendez,
Man.
the point that I'm trying to make here is that
I agree with you 100%.
right, but see, because the public wants W's, but the public wants their son or daughter or their nephew, their niece to play. But their son or nephew or niece is not going to win the game, And so how do that's for me as an athlete. When my dad told me, "Hey, if you're not playing, it's because you're not very good," I understood that.
Man,
My dad didn't have to come to school and say, "Hey, how come you're not playing my son?"
He understood it. He saw it, and he
Yeah.
was objective enough to be like, "Hey, pues ni modo."
Yeah. But again, now we have that whole mentality. You're talking about being a little bit soft and whatnot. The participation trophy.
Everybody has a ring in baseball. Everybody has a World Series ring. Everybody has participated in the World. Oh man, I hate that World Series tournaments. Come on, man. There's only one World Series tournament, man.
But some people would tell me I was in the sideline of the Big 12 championship game. I was in the sideline of the Big 12 championship game, but I got a ring.
But see, that's different though. You're in college, you're putting in the work, you're part of a team. That's different.
No, but see, the argument would now be that they're a part of a team here. so I'm of the mentality that I see the big picture, but at the same time, I didn't play in the college level because I wasn't good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I wasn't. I really wasn't. I was good enough to kick ass from time to time.
Did you enjoy yourself while you were there?
I did.
That's all. And that's what it is. Sometimes it's about just being part of the brotherhood and camaraderie.
Yeah. No, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I kick ass from time to time.
Yeah.
I would push back. I would penetrate the line of scrimmage from time to time. But that would be 2 out of 10 times, 3 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit low. 4 out of 10 times. 50%, baby.
I'll tell you what, though. I've heard stories of coaches in the playoffs winning the playoff game 2-3 rounds deep, and they still have to meet with parents on Monday or Tuesday because their son or daughter didn't play more than 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But the game was won. The game was won.
I was in the playoffs against Los Fresnos Falcons. The Fresnos Falcons. I got 4 minutes in, 5 minutes in.
Wait, in high school?
Yeah, in high school. My dad didn't say
I was at that game. The one that happened in Los Fresnos?
Yeah, I believe so.
I was at that game.
Yeah,
Great game, by the
I
way.
don't remember if we won or lost, dude. To be honest with you, that was my junior year.
Mm.
But I played 4 or 5 minutes the entire game. You know, so but my dad didn't say shit. My dad just didn't say, "Hey, how come he didn't play more?" I didn't give a shit. Hey, you didn't play enough because you weren't as good as the other ones.
Mm.
They were trying to win a football game. So I mean, to that point, I think parents should just let the coaches coach. If you want winning programs, let the coaches coach. Let them put the positions, the players in the correct positions. And don't get me wrong. There was this one kid that I wanted him to be a defensive lineman, but the
Mm.
guy could run, man. So eventually he ended up being a running back. But when he came
Mm.
to us as a freshman, he was he was a defensive lineman, and Kid wanted to be a running back. And sure enough, as a junior senior, he lit up the field. He could run, you know.
But
So
sometimes, and see here, okay, here's the thing though. Why that's another thing we talked about today is today I think there's too many kids and even some parents. I don't know about parents, but I think parents have something to do with it. Where I'm a freshman, why am I not starting? Or I'm a freshman, why didn't some sophomores get taken to the varsity class, some freshmen don't, some don't. Why not? The
mhm.
entitlement. Hey, you got to earn it, or maybe it's not your time, or maybe the guys in front of you are a lot better.
And we go back to my high school years as a freshman when I was on the white team. There was seven, probably, maybe at most seven, I think, of the freshman group, the entire freshman group, the red and white, that got moved up to the varsity, and they were
And the
working.
rest of you
The rest,
stayed and kept working.
the rest of us stayed, and all those guys were working out with the varsity kids, and
We
so
got parent. We got Coach Carter the grades. Be more strict. Let parents understand. Let them let the coach be the coach. What else? How are we gonna fix it?
you want another one? I might
Yes, sir.
I might get in trouble for this one. Give the
You
head
better not
coach.
get me. I hope I don't get in trouble. Well, I'm not
Give
that.
the head coach as a secretary.
What?
Give the head coach as a secretary. I'm talking about the high school coaches, the high school athletic coordinator. Give him a secretary. Give them a secretary. They need one. Let them coach football.
Mm,
Let them coach
mm.
football. There's a lot of paper pushing. When I did that interim thing, there was a lot of paper pushing, a lot of it. And so, in my opinion, help it out, help them out, give them a secretary. And that's just me with my 2 cents. Um, I don't know if other schools do that or not, but I would venture to say that they do. And that's just me giving my 2 cents out. Let them coach football.
I have a pause here because some people I see the other side of the argument where what do they do the rest of the season? How many these are questions. What do they do the rest of the year? How many classes are they teaching the rest of the year for them to solidify or I don't know the word that they need the secretary? And I get it during football season, it's a show.
Yeah,
Because I was an AC for 1 year at a junior high, and man,
Rudy, I
because
want to give you a secretary too.
but I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. It's
There's
a
a
lot
lot
of
of paper
stuff,
pushing. There's a
and
lot
they
of
deal with a lot of stuff. They do deal with a lot of stuff.
yeah. So
That's one. That's another one.
to me, I think that's big.
Mm.
Um, I'll be honest with you. If I ever wanted to become a head football coach, I would try to steer away from being the athletic coordinator. If somebody said, "Hey, Luciano, do you want to be the head football coach at La Jolla High School?" I would be like, "Yeah, I'd love to, but I don't want to be the athletic coordinator."
So maybe there should be a separate position by itself that you're the athletic coordinator taking care of all the sports, and then there's a head football coach who just does football.
I don't know. That's beyond me. But me, if somebody asked me if I wanted to coach football, dude, I would love to be the head football coach at any high school.
Mm,
Any high school. But
right?
around here, I think it's common practice for the head football coach to be the athletic coordinator, and I don't want to be an athletic coordinator. I
I
really
think
don't.
that's across the board, across anywhere. I think the whole state of
I
Texas.
think there's one or two schools around here that have the baseball coach, the head baseball coach is the athletic coordinator. But me
Really?
personally, yeah. But me personally, if they called me to La Jolla right now, hey Luciano, we want to offer you the head football position coach, but you have to take on the athletic coordinator stuff. I'm gonna be like, I can't. I'm not taking this position. I don't want to take that position because
Mm,
my goal, my dream is not to be in charge of other people. My goal, my dream is to be the head football coach.
that's an interesting point you make.
That's me personally.
I don't think many people have actually thought about that.
And I have because when I was the interim head coach there at La Jolla for about a month and a half, I was like, dude, fuck this shit, dude. Like, there's a lot of fucking paperwork,
Mm,
and I wasn't even doing it full time, and they were helping me
man,
out with guiding this and guiding that, but there's a lot of
yeah,
paperwork, so much so that I was like, we gotta make, and I only did it for a month. I can only imagine that somebody's doing it for
year round.
365, 24/7. It's chingos. It's chingos. So for me personally, if Coach Garza called me today, he goes, "Hey, Luciano, we're gonna hire you as a head football coach." I'll be like, "Look, I would rather coach football and maybe have classes half the day. I would rather do that."
And have somebody else take care of the admin work,
Mhm.
the admin office work.
Yeah, give me the morning to coach football, to watch film, to do football related stuff. Me
3
personally,
periods.
3 or 4 periods. 4 would be nice.
Okay, and then the other 3 you're teaching a class.
Give me a conference. Give me 2 classes. That
That
is,
doesn't, that
if
doesn't sound like a bad idea. I like that. Doesn't sound like a bad
I'm
idea.
good, run for a vote for me, and we'll make this happen. But
Hey,
that's how I would. If like I said, if they called me and say, "Hey, you wanted to be,"
what if Emmanuel Lopez says, Emmanuel, would you be the head coach if what if they gave you 2 secretaries?
and did what? What would I do?
Would you
And
still
do
be
what?
the head football coach coordinator? He's being silly. My bad. Just a
That's
shout out to
that's
Manny.
that's I don't know. I don't know that I want to do all that other
But I
paperwork.
do see I do see your point. That's a very interesting perspective there.
I mean, that's just me personally. Because honestly, man, when I graduated from high school, from college, I had two things in mind. I wanted to teach math, and I wanted to be a football coach. And to the point where I wanted to be a head football coach at some point. But when I came to become a football coach, and I started to see all the intricacies of what the head football coach does, I don't
Yeah.
want to do all that stuff, dude. And he did the head football coaching stuff, of course, but everything else that they did as an athletic coordinator, that's not my dream job. That's
Right.
if somebody says, "Hey, you want to be a coach at La Jolla High School or Palmview or Juarez?" I want to be a head football coach, but not an athletic coordinator. I really don't want to be an athletic coordinator. I don't want to be in charge of everybody else. Like I really don't. Yeah, let me teach math for 2 classes. Let me have the morning to watch film, but I don't have to just watch film. So that's the thing. I don't watch film just 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I have to watch film all year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. You're breaking things down.
You gotta watch film all year. If I had that kind of time, that crazy kind of time, I would have time to be able to coach my guys.
Yeah.
Have film sessions, study film sessions, and be like, "Hey, man, look, we're just gonna review the Nicky Roll game versus La Jolla. Just how do you think you did? Da, 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 da. Talk a little bit about technique and what we could have done differently, and just always be coaching my football players. Dream world, baby, dream world.
Bueno, Luciano, it's getting late. Got to get ready for my tea time. Thank you for the thank you for being on the show. I really
Amen.
like your perspective. It's different than mine, which I appreciate. I'm here to learn from your experience.
Well,
Any shout outs you want to give? Last points.
I'm just appreciate you having me on here. Shout outs to all my friends and all my co-workers that I had there at La Jolla High School and either at the other high schools as well, CCC and Thelma High School or STEM. That was that other that exist. So no, shout out to all you guys, man. You guys keep doing what you guys are doing. You know, I think change is coming, big time change is coming. So we'll see what happens in the near future. And on another note, if you guys need to call me or contact me, I am a real estate agent. And plug that in right there, man.
Hey, put in the plug. Put in the plug.
Plugging that in, man. So if you guys have any questions about the real estate market, just want to talk, we can talk. Follow me. I have my Mendes. I have a podcast show of my own as well. It's the Strongest Realtor or the RGB Strongest Realtor or just youtube.com at Martinez RGB Homes. So make La Joya great again, hijo de la- Woo, baby.
What was it again? Say that. Say give us your website. What was it?
So my YouTube channel is
YouTube.
youtube.com at Martinez RGV Homes.
Martinez RGV Homes.
Yeah, so just at Martinez RGV Homes, my Instagram and whatnot. But yeah, follow my channel. I do try to put content out there. I had Sergio Castillo a few weeks back. We had him on there.
Yeah, I wanted to have him. I gotta watch. I still haven't had a chance to watch your show, man.
I had him on here just to talk a little bit about football and his experiences and whatnot. And then
Nice.
I'm gonna have Eric Ochoa. I don't know if you know Eric Ochoa.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw you posted that. I'm looking forward to that one.
Eric Ochoa here in the next couple, actually next week, actually. So
Nice.
we're gonna have him, and we're gonna talk about the education, how education's changed, and he's now at an idea school, so
Yeah,
we're
there you go.
about that, and how it's different from coaching at a regular public school. And then more episodes down the line where we talk with loan officers, mortgage brokers.
Nice.
Just
Educate
different
the public.
things, educating the public. There's a lot of questions that people don't know or don't know the answers to. So as long as you're informed, you're gonna be just fine. And yeah, that's what it is. And I have my opinions about things, and I have very strong opinions about certain things, and um, I hope I didn't offend anybody in the show.
Nah, I think you did all right. I think you did all right.
But no, I really do hope, because there's some opinions there that are strong minded, and sometimes I like that bear crawl one, man. the bear crawl and the sticker one. So
Yeah.
but shout out to everybody. You guys, if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out in regards to real estate or even coaching. So Mendez, I'll end with this note. I'm not a speedster. I never was a speedster, but I can help you get strong. I can help you get real strong. So
No doubt.
if you have any questions about that, I feel free to reach out about that as well.
You got it, man. Hey, have a good night, Luciano. Everybody, hopefully you enjoyed the show. You guys have a good night. Peace. Later.